Ini ham uraman deb. Hmm. Nesse que eu fatal. Gips. Bakın çok iyiyiz. Fena. Geliyor da. Çıkıyor. Bakalım biraz.
Ketdik.
Yok.
Farmed ludicrously quick. Still looking for the
Tak,
first doom
demak,
of the
uyum
game.
bo'lib o'zi bera.
Kento shows himself.
Shtorm
İki,
keldi
iki.
shermi?
And there you go.
Ah,
There
sure.
will be used.
Zoom yedi.
What a prediction.
Javobim berib yubordilar. Befoyda deb.
Sapır dedim
Goes
ya.
to kill.
Ey, aje Shtorm uch yurtgachi, aje 15-minutda
I
Shtorm
would
uch
love to see
yurtdi.
a smoke here from Aurora if they have no invasive play to make. You just got doom expended on your final
Yo'q.
dying.
Uy, shamalla, shamalla.
Will not be able to get it right, and now it's just going to be easy farm.
Ma lich tortuvdi sakragamga o'shandan keyin o'zi ancha o'zgardi hayotim.
Stream yok değil mi?
He is
Streamda.
7-0.
Eshtilibdan
Just
mas.
taking
Krila
over this
ko'rgan
game
stream
as
mana
Beastmaster.
Nedir?
If this top move is successful as well, they might just get roached.
Nima kamera yana unaqa chappacha ko'rsatdi unaqa qilay.
Ma chappa ko'rsatdi.
Pop him in a blade. And into the pit
Ha,
they
uni
go.
burish problem ha. Bir soat
Still
kalashim
showing
kerak,
on lane,
kerakmas.
though.
Yaman
Talk is
mashg'ullik.
very fast.
Mirrorda to'g'rimi? Mirrormi?
Ha, error bu.
Yeah.
Kamera unutmang.
Successful.
Mayli, zarar yo'q.
Meanwhile, Toronto Tokyo already gets roached to half HP.
Rosh olibdilar.
23
Qani
Savage is
bisterma bilan
close to being
o'sha
able
agan
to
terotlar.
purchase the
Pomni nima
Radiant.
terotdilar? Dominatormi nima?
Ya,
And by close to
Oldi
being
agan
able to
terotlar.
agan
optimize,
olaylar,
of course.
olaylar.
Yep. Standard.
Agan ximik beram.
He has not queued it up again, though. Now he has.
Masalada, bunaqa nimada uynash.
Riveting. All right.
nima Ruby olmaydilar, chempionlar qiziqqan.
Nightfall. I think there was
Toronto Tokyo.
Hay, Mashi ish qanchalik
Qo'lga
to'g'ri?
qarshi Ruby ikkita xato o'ydim. Hay, sapir.
Yo'q, Mashi ish qanchalik to'g'ri? Misol uchun Lina tepa sapoq qilgan. Hech nimasi yo'q, lekin 2000 so'mga olibdi o'sha. Qani, misol. Agar yarmi kelaydi misol uchun.
Gina. Agan qilmaydi u. Fisk.
Hay, boshqa narsa hay. Millionlar katta qiladi.
Yani teaser barni farm qiladi, berlar tepa qiladi, tez yuradi, ikkala aylan. Qoplanadi-da, yerda qoplanadi.
Xuddi midasida ham.
And the next objective that's spawning, guess where
Yet
that
me
is?
eh balla mana bu ham ajib ekan. Qaranglar kriplar bosh qarang o'zi qiladi.
Tier 1 here.
O'zi afga turib ko'rsizlar. Ha, yo'qotdi Lina. Uxlab qoldi. Lekin uxlab qolaman deb urmasliklari, hech kim urmaydi, ulta uxlab qolaman deb. Nice.
Cash is in his 6th death here on
Mana shunar.
I mean, this is
Enigma killer ukun enigma-ku, baraban bilan nima qilib qo'yibdi.
Beastmaster.
Kiraslar.
Ukun biza enigma tushdi, aji dagir qilmadi bacha, tamom.
Really tough to kill though. 2300 health. He has got
Ina.
Essence Ring, Lotus and
Bunaqa yangi zakif qilibdimi yo full sasad yo o'ynaydi ana shunaqa.
kill off
Yo
this
zo'r
guy.
o'ynaydi yo full sasadlar.
Talon just don't have that much damage right now. They really
Qani
need to
Lina?
get to later portions in the game.
Tez
before
intelekka
the
turibdi.
really starts to hurt. Mira with a cute attempt here, but
Nega?
not gonna find
Yangi
Shadow
tejsin.
Shaman.
Tejsang ekan.
And I think we
Brother,
didn't really talk
Storm.
about this so far, but
Tini nima
Hero
bo'lganlar?
also
Backdoor
been
sindirishgan.
very impressed by Jokum this tournament. I think the archetype hero he has looked the best on is not Shadow
Yo,
Shaman.
o'tar
I
chiqarib
think he's
daraxt.
been looking best on the melee fours where
Ki
he
deb
makes
ilaki?
rotations and has successful early pressure.
Mana Shardogandir-da, o'tiribdi yangilyapti.
Losing lane was tough.
Yoki prosta yangilyapti.
I'm not sure, but I think
Warchan
perhaps
tursin
Talon just wanted to grab the Bane because Panto has looked so good on it, so it's a bit of a steal. But they already
Yosh
hit on
to'shdi.
dying.
Lesta easy urib qo'yasan, lekin ancha urib olmaysan
Here
jangda.
is- I
Men
think
urib
Talon-
ko'rganman, urib bo'lmaydi.
Cuckoo's best
Lekin
hero this tournament
Lesta
is
easy
Shadow
urasan.
Shaman.
Qanday ishlaydi
I
bilmayman.
think Bane and Shaman, you're pushing
O'sa
Jokum
kuchayadimi
onto a
yo, kim
lower
bilar?
impact hero for himself, and then
Yeah.
Cuckoo is also not playing his best hero.
Tich yangi bolla.
I kind of question this.
Yaragandir.
Video ko'rgan.
Much to do there.
Video ko'rgan
Jokum doesn't
bachalar.
play a good shaman 'cause he does.
O qara, o'zi nima kripto mag'lub. Endi bir ikki top bir yoqqa, qara, o'zi to'xtab kirib qoladi.
Boshqaram.
Boshqaram. Agar qilish kerak akillar.
Only thing when you're here. This is when
Dumni
tournaments get really
kallasi.
interesting when you get to the top four,
Qo'rqib
because the
bunaqa
teams
du.
know each other. You're probably you know, you're aware of the Tusk, you're aware of other heroes Joe.
Alla beyinde nimasi bor ekan. Beyinde valla. Embleması bu. $10,000 tranche narsa. Easy.
And at the same time, Talon will, of course, it's a mind game, through and through.
Ya şart durupdilar.
Yeah, I was not expecting them to be able to get this one, so this is very good news for them.
Qancha etdi hozir. Chilli xaqirdan bilibdilar, uxlatdi.
Yo, patdan jo Omar tamam yopildi da tini. Bir ikki berdi nolda deymiz. Bachano anam jo. Zum berishim.
O'sha aytaman. Befoyda.
Hada hamma qo'shdi da, imbada, bizangilar qo'shilmaydi.
That looked like
Yeah,
Talon
it should
were not on the same page,
Ay,
right?
qo'shildi.
Pulini chiqar ekan.
But it kind of looked like he wanted to fight, not, all right, guys, I'm going to die so you guys can get out. Because, I don't know, let's see here. So Makoto's off on the side, Cuckoo.
Tini yopildi.
Tini bir ikkisi jo olmagan.
But you can tell he's kind
Tini mindan
of
chiqdi.
off to the north and maybe got
Mana
some
dum
back-
pipe qilgan, ha. Zandum maqladi, ok chiqadi birinchi qilib.
Refresh.
But this
Refresh okdi.
Elmi dunyocha agan qilibdilar. Aganni kuchaytirdilar teoriyani qaytib uchun agan qiladigan emas.
bad, because that
Ya Kuzdam Lina fast hitsga ultini beraverdi. Berayam killi bermaylam deyman-da.
taking that away is a 3,000 gold swing, and
Qizilama beringlar balla. Hamma o'yin yutaman bizlar. Qizilama beringlar.
it's not too bad.
Missiyon bitangi.
Ya qo'ysa.
Boshda olsam, obimaydi.
Obimaydi, kir tayyorgarlikka 14-minutda yasa. O'tib agan ololmaysan.
Ya,
Lekin shamanda o'ldim. 7-level shamanda roshda o'ldim.
Yo'q.
Ya o'ldim-ma. To'g'ri berayim. O'lasan. 2ta smoke, 2ta mango, bitta mana sapo. O'lasan, tamam.
Ana Black Hole bormi? So'ng bosdilar. Black Hole 4 mi?
This is an
Yo'q.
incredible game for
Ha, Doom late mi?
Entomb, as we call it now.
Yeah.
We did
Doom late ekanlar.
grab ally.
Mana aytdim, dumni letga olyaptilar.
Black hole, Bane grip.
O'zi dum berib kirsa haqiqatan kelish hech kim chiqolmaydi daqa,
Balki.
Beautiful timing, temperature. Beautiful timing o'yinlar. 2 sekund qoluvdi bilan tugadi o'ldirdi. Dum berdi.
Ha, Roshmi?
Tombaga dum ko'rsatish
That's a
mumkin.
really well executed move from Talon.
Tomba
though.
yashardi
O'ylay,
ketdi
o'ylay,
uyiga.
Action against the-
O'y, endi Tomba berib turadi, ha, Tomba. Qasdi bu.
and also getting the
Endi
clear
qayt 1
on
beraveradi, 2 beraveradi, shu uchun beryaptimi, ha, yo Tomba qo'yadi. Knopkasi ko'p demoqchimi?
Panto, but he's-
Tini 1-2 beradi, tamom. Tiniga hatto 1-2 beradi, tamom, 3 Misol uchun Lina ham shu 1 beradi, 3 ada. Berib bo'lgan bo'lsa uni ham. Do'yim les yo'q, hamma les do'yim urilgan. Les chiqmaydi o'zi.
So I think Talon are going to be quite satisfied. And as the panel talked about for
Yeah,
Talon in a
Shama.
lot of their games, it's just about
Solo,
get to that
solo.
mid-late game situation that you play the best.
O'chaaldi.
You're 6k down.
Ding.
It's not great,
It's manageable.
but it's
Hozir
manageable.
ko'ryaptim streamda,
And
gruppa
most of the
aytashab
games
qo'y.
Newcastle, this team, game one,
Hay men chiqmayin,
game's
o'zi
over.
ekranni o'zing tasha.
Right? 23 minutes. That's the average
Hmm,
time. for all.
mana masa.
Vast improvement
Mana tasha.
for their side for this game.
Endi.
And
Rahom kirsin,
that
rahom.
means they're going to be
Ilhom, sizma gruppa
better by
tashila
the same
kiraman.
relative amount in game 2 and 3. They got this unlocked.
Ibrohim aka tashlardan.
Ona ham cho'g'ir, 3-chi odam, 3-chi
Danat
odam.
silka bu aytgancha bemalol danat qilishlari mumkin.
Yo'q.
Hech kim qarshilik qilmaydi danat qilishlari.
$300 deb qo'ygan, ham chetidan
There's
chiqdi.
very much room for improvement
Danat
there.
qilishlari.
Cheese kerak, Roshdan cheese kerak.
Uchish kerak sir.
Toronto
Mikrofoning juda xafalaydigan.
8-0.
O'zodan.
Yep.
Going for the assault.
Yaqindan gapirsam ham bilmadim-da.
Mikrofon, prior.
I
Ha, Samsungda.
Techmi ekmayapti.
Keraksin.
Ha so'lring ham qilmagan hay. Nima qilgan?
Nimaga gapirib chiqish
I
majburiy?
know there's no doom.
Tech ko'p yangi bor.
Last outer tower on the map.
Talon don't really care about this tower.
Hamma o'ynaganmi?
He did go pipe and crimson on Enigma.
Enigma mana kirganimizga
Mag'lubiyatdan
bilmayman. 10 minutdan o'tdi. Mana ko'rishlaringiz mumkin. Enigma biron marta Black Hole qo'yma.
Does hit. Makoto is fine.
Ko'rding sen Enigmani? O, game tiqqan ekan Tech.
Oya, bir statiniga ko'rdim, u ham o'lmadi, Black Hole
Game tiqqan ekan, gap yo'q. Tech game tiqqan, короче, ultasiga portlasan shu fioletvi chiqar. Fioletvi qimmat, yashil arzon.
Well, 30 seconds away from
Bu fioletvi qilgan
kind of
ekan.
knowing when Rush will spawn.
Tini immortalkasi yo'q mana. Kyotakani, Gadoy.
Ha, brat, o'tganmi?
Again, like we
Aisha.
talked about yesterday.
Qaysi?
Not a
Hozir
big
men
fan of
o'yladim-ku.
utility.
I don't think
Tiny
we've
mid.
seen him buy this single time.
Scout
He doesn't go the
o'yladim-ku. Kaçma.
It does feel like everybody else does though when they're mid on Tinies. That's kind of interesting.
O seviyeydeki scoutçular.
Yeah, he's gonna get the BKB and then we're probably gonna see him go into
Teach ham o'qib nima qilar ekan. Bir joyga 3ta ekib ketyapti. Qanchalik ishlaydi.
third item or fourth item.
Hiç zararı hatta o.
Kamerangni kapat.
Beyinni ko'ryapsizlar.
Obez, nodurlar viloyatda. Bir gapda.
Beyinni ko'ryapsizlar. Beyinni ko'ryapsizlar. Zelonka tergan. Fikr bildiringlar. Beyin zelonka tergan mana. Kerak emas narsa. Agar yarmi kelaydi, to'g'rimi?
Inyor o'tganda o'ta.
Ko'pchilik uribdi.
Ish yo'q.
Shamal nimamdagilar po'ylab ketadi, nima?
Ikki qidiribdi-da, mana qiladi. Bironta kelar, jo'ralar kelar.
Instagramga qo'yam streamni.
Yo'y. Akkauntimga kirmasinlar. Ko'p streamlar bu o'chirib chiqishim kerak shundan. Sukinilgan, boshqa qilingan, o'chirib chiqishim.
Yes, indubitably.
Go Instagramga qo'yaman.
Yo'y. Kelamiz. Ya, kerak emas stream. O'zim chatda ham yo'qolgan baribir. Qanday sal xavf?
Hozir mana to'rtga Rubik ko'rdim chap tarafdan, olmayaptilar. Ko'rmayaptilar. Bilek qo'l bu, dum bu, shaman bu.
Techsturnigadi.
Hech yurne, ideal bachlar qo'rqadi, maqanaydir.
Bir olmaydilar.
Faqat Rubik ko'rdim yaqinda, tamom. Umuman Rubik olmaydilar.
Rubik manimcha balla Kamalda kapitan Rubikni banga tiqqan joska uyim bo'lgan bir kuni.
Rubik o'yan onasini
bir kun uyim bo'lgan. Jelmadiysan, bir kun joska uyim bo'lgan.
Bizam Rubik onda haytaydi-ku.
Force staff to'la. Agar ashbach force staff to'z olmasa,
uchinchi olam.
Ikkinchi. Force staff.
4 ta bo'lishi mumkin. 4 dollar. Masha yashashga-da, Dota hammasi yashashga bo'lib qoldi.
Tomba kirtibdilar, davay, rapaday deyaptilar, tomba. Yo'q, tomba o'lmish attack damage pul uchun, qanchalik, tomba-ku bu. Techismas-ku bu. Nima deysizlar? Tomba o'lmish minus attack olgan. O'lmish minus attack damage olgan.
Hayır, o'smanglar urmaydi-ku, ara. 1-2 beradi.
Baribirda.
Qilgan narsasi-chi, katta bo'lgan.
Qarada, bir yo'q smog'da bo'lsa, ikki yo'q ham smog. Qanday biladi, dum tutulinani.
Oshga urish bo'lishi tezobdir hamma.
Qanday quvibdi oxirigacha, qo'rqmaydi dumdan.
Bekar boss qilyapti.
Tini nima qilibdi? Agar o'taribdi, agarni berdi Tini.
Tiniga dum berdilar, men olti berdilar.
Ko'rishardi mumkin, Tiniga hamma oltilarni berdilar. Chunki anta bir ikkisi juda ham ko'p jon olganlar, qo'rqib qoldilar menimcha. 3 kishiga Black Hole, 2 kishiga Black Hole, liniya o'pib ketdi.
Yaxshi qo'ydi.
Beastmaster uribdi, hech nima ham qila olmaydi, chiqarmadilar. Uje tetsam hech qayerga qochmaydi. Bir kapiri farm.
Juda xato,
Tech juda xato. Bir roshda ham berdilar katta ehtimol bilan. Mana ko'risharsiz mumkin, mana shu tarontada yaxshi ilhom safe qilgan. Ilhom ashbachan safe qilgan. Ilhom ashbachan. Qara, tomba qo'yilmadi nima?
Tarontoga save qilibdi.
Tarontoga save qilish kerak-ku.
Ilhom safe qilgan.
I don't know if there was just a misunderstanding in
Dumni qara, uraykan dum.
6 kiloga kirgan Tarontoda to'kkan save qilish kerak.
Orakellar degan.
Ilhom orakellar degan. Elak o'sha orakeldagi o'yin, rahmim ham keladi Ilhomga. Shunday kiribdilar-da Ilhomni. Chiqarmay uribdilar, balasini nolga tushiribdi sizlar. Diffuse berib, tamom shishma qilaman.
Masala bo'lgan.
Tamom nolga tushiribdi. Nima qilib nima qilish kerak? Pozitsiyani ushlash kerak-da, tamom. Yo'q, o'qishni qora.
Men last pickga tomba bilan hech solinibdi. Last pickga. Yo'q, last pickda ko'rsatmayaptim.
Ben ult beradi, uylami? Ben ultida uylami?
Qayerda?
2-1 ult uyladi, 2-1 ult. Ult bekimen ustidan o'tadi, yaxshi. Dumni kelishlarini qarab bemalol kelamiz-da.
Yo'q, hammonsa beriladi, yaxshi yo'q.
as they take the lead in terms of
Beyin bera
network.
ishladi. Smoke bilan kelib vision berishlar juda aqlli. Manda ham shunaqa
Let's
support bersa
remember
qaraydi.
when this does go
Yo'q.
later, their
Man
lineup has a lot of
supportlarim,
potential against the
Winter.
Carolina, courtesy of a Storm, courtesy of a Doom carry.
Kimni urish kerak? Kommentariy yozasizlar.
Yo'q.
Winter ult
Ma,
bersa
sabr
kimni
qiling.
urish kerak? Biza
Doom Knight
Ilhom
knows
Ulbek
that.
ursa biladi debdi. Biza ikki yo'qda ham urib ko'rdik. Killer bilan Shakir. Ikki yo'qdan ham jo'namadi.
Very poorly with getting doomed. In late game situations, Carolina depends heavily on Satanic.
Mana, Carolina Satanic bilan o'ynash qanchalik to'g'ri degan savol beryapti. Tepa to'g'ri. Yamonda urushga bermaykan ko'p narsa bor. Mana qara, Beyin ultiga tiqorishi mumkin, misol uchun. Yo tech o'yinli.
Mira, careful, yeah.
Techsvaram, juda xato.
Dum.
Juda xato.
23 Savage, okay.
Ketdilar. Yana dum. Ay, yo'q. Ay, yana dum ko'rmoqchi edim. Tombaga yana dum ko'rmoqchi edim.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So now the grab ally ready to go.
Tech juda xato. Rubik bilaydi.
Well, he did buy it.
Ha, o'ynolmasda hech kim.
Qana o'ynolmaydi, shuncha o'yin so'ati bu Dota'da.
O'yin 15 ga o'tiribdilar, o'yin 15 ga.
Only the one on the shadow.
Shuni o'g'irlay, men o'ynay olaman. Beradi, shuni o'g'irlaysan, tamom, ish masala yo'q.
Cuckoo's always such a good
Saf qaytır.
sport when things go wrong.
Yo'q, techsda nima qilsin keyingi partiyada.
I've never seen a good reaction like that to
I think it's really
Al
admirable.
kapitan
in a
ma'qul
really
qo'yadi,
good team
Tertel.
environment to have a player that can just laugh stuff off. Oh,
Yo'q, haydi, men olmaydilar mana. Yo'q, ko'rmaydilarmi o'sha
you
vaqt
being
killer.
stressed out and frustrated with mistakes.
Yeah, imagine if
That's
Nightfall
like-
was more like that. This-
Qara,
this fight
4-chi
was
olibdimi
TI
o'zim? Uni o'ylab qarasa 4-chi olibdim, tepaga 4-chi-ku.
BKB and laugh it off.
Demak, Rostalar ham 4-chi olgan bo'lsa, yo mayli Tomba nimaga bir kishi yashatsin deganlarmi? Nima deganlar? Ha, yashatib ham nima? Ikkisi qancha jon beradi Tombani? Kim Tomba 2 berganda yashab ketgan?
I'm not saying Cuckoo is a clown.
Ajik kacham qilmaydi.
At least, you know, good vibes.
Nimani?
Tomba
For
ikkisi
example,
deyapman.
Yapsor, the guy's just a goofball.
O'z qilayotgan bo'lganman.
Jon bermaydi-ku.
Jon bermaydi. Tombani ikkisi jon bermaydi deganlar plyusda. Chatga plyus. Tombani ikkisi jon bermaydi.
Jon bermaydi. Jon bermaydi.
All right.
Yo'q.
Hands off keyboard.
Noz buni masa streamni bitta check qila olaylik-da.
Has the Aegis for another minute
Tak, bitta check
45.
qilaylik streamni.
Hech kim yozmayapti-ku, bir
All
kamin.
tier 2s for Aurora are up.
Shurik savol beribdi. Shurik savol beribdi. Danat nima chiqmadi debdi. Shurik danat qilgan ekan chiqmabdi. Bilmadim, Shurik nima chiqmagan. 1000 so'm.
Kirib 1 oy ko'p bo'lsa, shuncha ko'p jon beradi.
1000 so'm danat qilgan bo'lsang chiqmaydi. Shurik 5000 mi 10000 danmi kami chiqmaydi. Shunaqa qo'ygan.
Ananga bitta tikib bo'lar.
Tini ham o'zi ancha xato bergan.
Toronto Tokyo waiting in the back lane. He's going to get the
O dumya. Ha baribir dum beradi-ku bu. Chiqormaydilarmi? Chiqormadilar. Yaxshi.
Ongega.
Qara ishonibdi-da, killer qara. Dumga kiribdi, ishonibdi, chiqormaymiz. Tushunyapsanmi? Tetsam joyida kiribdi, uchun tushunyapsanmi? Ishonibdi, chiqormaymiz.
Black hole yo'qmi? Black hole yo'qmi?
Black hole dagger Black hole pipe qilgan. Sen aytsan pipe
Yo'q,
qilgan.
hech yo'qmi?
Black hole kuchli Black hole.
100 to 0 him.
Black hole
Nearby.
hamma taktikani zo'rsa biladi-da, bitta Black hole bilan. Agar komanda raqib Rubik bermasa albatta.
Now with a minute on the sideline for Doom, perhaps they think about this, but
Ruby oluydan Black hole'ga qarshi o'zi
within the talent base.
o'yladim. Aynan qiladi, ichga kirib qoladi man.
And of course, keep him alive. A lot of mana expended from Makoto. Tries to exit the premises.
Mana ko'rishlar mumkin.
Unfortunately, for Talon.
Ana Bekdor sindirsin Bekdor.
Davay Bekdor sindirish kerak.
Tushmaydi ular.
Is just in there. He blinked straight into the enemy base, hoping to
He's
fish.
gonna
Shoqroq.
very far away.
Ye, o'tdi nima?
His roar, so
Ey, yerga.
Yerga.
Ey, nimaga qo'yaverdi o'tdi?
Haydi.
Nimaga
Dagger qildi-ku.
It's gotta be at least 2, right?
Ha, qarada Enigma, daggersiz Enigma.
Now Cuckoo kind of
Bilmayman-da, nima
Ya
metachisizlar.
qilish kerak. Bacha troyka-ku.
went for the grip.
wow, they're gonna not go for more than this. All right.
Bacha troyka-ku.
We talked about the discipline.
Xatoda, baribir Enigmaga dagger. Mayli, birinchi soat, ikkinchi soatdan
Danatsilga,
kerak.
qanday natsilga?
I feel like the
Danat
tower
silka
was-
o'sha
I don't
streamda
think
bor.
going for the barracks was
Why do you hate them so much?
35-minutgacha bo'lish kerak. 30gacha yapsin, 25gacha yapsin.
why do you hate every region?
Qilish kerak-da, bilish kerak.
That's just being a dick.
Yine ben 3 qo'yib bir old berganmi yoki sen old qo'ygan ko'rsa.
3 qo'yib. Joska. Nima deyaptilar? 34-minut dagger oldi deyaptilar Tomba.
Tomba dagger oldimi?
Mana oldi-ku.
It's not
Oldu mana bile.
dying to play that way because you really want to play on initiation, but
Ana.
Yoktu, danatlar ne görünmüyordu.
Ya danat ko'rinadi. Shunday bo'lishi mumkin emas. Danat ko'rinadi, shunday bo'lishi mumkin.
Nasıl da şazam koysanız.
Joska. Danat ishlayapti.
this reminds me of
Çıkmıyor,
Island actually.
Yeah, true, you just need a chair.
Yeah,
Mana
just needs
mana
this little
ko'rsatamiz o'zi
office
mana.
chair
Tomba ne kadar nasıl yazım
and
o?
slightly ambiguous accents.
Nasıl peki ama hayır?
Go.
Yes,
Olma bu.
really high quality
Kaç
voice
beş kalsın?
acting on their
Şu yüreğim.
Yok koyayım.
It's
Mana?
Aurora in
Çok
really good
iyi.
position, but Talon have these huge ults. I just can't
Panto.
get away from their team
Yok
fight
ay dagger qilibdi.
being pretty
Emsap
crazy
o, katta
if
qilib
well
olgan.
executed.
Ey.
Yeah,
Ma üzüm ingasam bilaydi. Ben bundan yaxshi oynardım.
two of them.
Well, that's still correct. All your eyes.
My eyes are on Panto for the side of Aurora. Getting a tombstone save, you're going to be playing backline instead a lot of the time now. The dream fight for him is somebody gets doomed, you blink tombstone.
Balla
and
danat
pop
chiqmayapti
flash
Ruslandan.
bomb and
Ham
you become the
to'xtaylar
target.
o'zman danat silkanga
Nothing
to'g'rilar.
better can happen, and I think Talon
Dana tashamay
be
turinglar.
aware of this and try to play around
Dayan
it either
silkele
by
ishkile.
targeting the Undying first, or perhaps if you make an initiation, you jump someone with Doom, you want to make sure you have the Serpent wards immediately placed to destroy the tombstone, because otherwise you're going
Ketdik. Danat silka ishlayapti. Bemalol tashlalar
to
bilan.
stand there and smack the tombstone.
Shu ikki marta tashlab qo'ygan ishlamagan. Joska shurikdan.
It's
Joska bo'lyapti
quite
bera.
a lot of pressure here on the side of Talon.
Man feeling yog'libdi.
I've seen them already in this game find that
Tineling yag'labdi.
Roach is coming for Kyoto.
Kimga qarshi?
Lina qilibdi. Lina ham qilibdi.
4K into a Lincoln sphere. And same for Nightfall.
Mana bisti qara. Narsalar idealligini.
triple Lincolns.
Mm.
Yeah. Deal with the Doom. Deal
Sapok
with the
dagada
Doom,
maqmoqchim deymanda, teleport sapok qilmoqchim deymanda oxirida.
Funnily enough, 23 Savage. Lincoln's next on the list.
Bista o'ynaydi.
Though, Mr. WS, it will be the BKB.
Yeah, he's gonna.
O'zim GoTVdan qilib kirsam, stream qilsam bo'ladi. Uytirish kerak, ponni mishga bitta qo'yib mishga-da, qars ko'raman aytdi. Yo'qmay, unaqa ham ko'rsgan yaxshi.
He has Shiva's SNK.
Ataydi dadishgan.
Witchblade BKB.
Zadeshga farqi yo'q-ku, baribir sen 10 minutdan keyin ko'rsang ham baribir. Nima farqi? 10 minutdan keyin ko'rding, 5 minutdan keyin ko'rding. Baribir bu ham live точно emas, bu originalini sotib olish necha $1000 turadi.
Earlier act.
Originalini sen
Just
beradilar.
looks so insane.
Murat.
Like, I'm not talking first item, it's third item acts. Like, why is that not consistent?
Qani
You don't
maqmoqchilar.
have mana to...
Yeah, I think part of it is mana.
Uyum bo'ladi berak, ko'rishingiz mumkin, botulga.
Rosh,
Oxirida botol sotib
yaqinlashyapti,
oxirida. Oxirida botol belaki, nima, dedega botol tiqqanlar oxirida 15-minutda.
Ey, Roshda-chi, nimadirga yotibdi, kimdir narsasi.
Yo, nima, banner olmadi endi.
Banner emas, ham tansim.
Every scenario.
Ya, g'ayishimgas.
Shivas will help you with solo pickoffs, it will help you with farming, it will help you with
Epic Games'da Limbo'ni beribdi, o Epic Games'da Limbo.
BKB enables your hero to function in different
Limbo.
Manda Borku Limbo, o bo'lganmi? Steam'da. Yaxshi.
Dum chiqarmaymiz, yo'q.
Dum berdi. Linaga dum berib ketdi baribir. Storm urinyotibdi, lekin qanaqadir umuman damag o'qmayapti. Eling mobillik qol qo'yardini, qo'ymadi. Storm yoqqa qo'chibdi. Dum o'qirib, Tombacha kirdi. Nice.
Echa kirmadi, Tomba 3 ichkari kirgizor ekan.
Ma o'zim kiraydim.
Yo'q,
Nine guys. Nine.
Black Hole yo'qmi?
Black Hole bo'lmadi. Oxirigacha kutdim. Ko'zim ekran tepasida. Oxirigacha Black Hole.
Bestroyka.
Bezich.
Lina gets saved by Tombstone and they serpent
Bezich,
ward
bezich.
Bestroyka yo'q.
him on top of the
Bestroyka o'yin har
assignment.
doimgidek.
Bestroyka.
If they kill that Tombstone 3 seconds
Ulan yani fight qilgan, icha,
Techis ekkan ekan.
no shot for Nightfall to get anything going.
Yontansa bordi chiqaray.
Ay, Alloh hozir nima edi? Banner edi. Techis ekkan banner.
It's a heavy commitment and it was
Yo'q, hech nima qilmayaptilar. O'ldiribdilar. Rosh chiqdi. Rosh oladi endi. Atak ulantiriladi-da.
Bu shuni yuradimi Tomba? Olaman tombağın için yursa.
Elektrik geçti okurdu bu.
On the menu.
Oy.
30 seconds on the
Qani
menu.
qani
Oğuzlarıyla
yuradi?
geldi mi?
Qani yuradi? Manda bu
Qara
tomba.
tomba gösterken ya.
İlhom ochgan. Ikkita bor edi, ikkita tombam bor edi. Bittasini ilhom ochgan,
Without serpent
bittasi
wards,
turibdi.
I mean, they still have Doom, they still have
Tabii
Black
ki
Hole.
aytdasan manga.
They can definitely take this
Yani
fight.
o'zi
they can
bittada
take the
o'zimga
fight,
beraman
but they're not
deydi.
going to be able to kill Roche in 20 seconds.
Ay.
really.
No.
Yine bir tane tomba.
They go for the fight
Sot
first
sot sot.
and
And they
Yani
also have
tele-
İlliydi.
so even
Sot olaman.
unfortunately,
Sotla.
Ya illik yanı mı?
Anca.
Mira didn't set up the mines in the
Yeah.
river.
Sotla.
to kill off Roche.
Anca.
Tom narxini
an
aytaman,
entire
belki
mine
aytaman.
trail and kill him outside
Okay.
the pit.
Çek kilo.
Ana,
Çektiğin
bitta
an tekkiye böyle.
Bitta tonishim bor, o'sha tonishimni sotadi. O'zbek arzon sotadi. O'shaga qarayman, o'shani arzon
Roche is
beraman.
able to pick up everything.
BKB for
Yok, qara.
WS.
Shakka bu.
Qimmat mas'uballar, arzon, juda arzon. Siz sotgim kelmayapti, juda arzon-da. O'zi 40 ming, 50 ming beradi. Yo, misol uchun qayta to'g'ri bo'lmaydi narsa, chiqmay ketadi. Ana shunday ketadi-da.
Tomba ini veter olibdi. Linza bilan dagirni.
Nima dagir? Yandagi Windrunner yo tombada kirgan bachalar. Yanda Windrunner o'ynadik, birinchi slotga просто dagir oldi. Просто mitga dagir oldi, tamam.
Komandasini hammasini dagiri bor, u ham dagir bilan o'ynaysiz.
5 kishi dagir qiladilar ichkariga.
Qani
5
ona
kishi.
yurmayapti.
You might have to.
I mean, he has
Get it on
harpoon, right? So harpoon.
Beyazlar
Aje
yurib.
ko'p narsa bu biz bilmaymiz. Bachalar giyim tiqanlar
Ana uni
yurishlariga.
yurishini qaraya qarab. Ana.
In order of preference, I think if you can, if you see the Lina,
Giyim tiqanlar bachalar, valla giyim tiqib bir nimalar qilib taxlaydilar. Uni qilolmaysan, uni ko'rishing kerak
the
ancha.
fight is already developing and you
Refresh,
don't
Doom'da.
feel the need to, just make sure you get
Dunda
the Doom out.
refresh, qiziq.
But
O'chirmayaptilar-ku. Ishonibdim bacha, o'chilaman, ikkita beraman.
I mean, it doesn't do anything other
Beki
than
besmom, Dumni beki besmom. Beki besmom, bera beki bes o'ynamaydi hech kim.
weird.
U kirarlar, yo'qqa to'rallar o'zkirsalar. Enigmadan bir ko'raylik, Black Hole ko'raylik.
Shamanga beki gördüm.
Enigmadan Black Hole
Into the
ko'raylik.
triangle, Talon. Ooh.
Yo'q,
Ey,
biltiribdilarmi?
atmadan
Bilibdilarmi? U qara,
Elim tarafı
bilibdilarmi?
doktorlar ya.
really good wrap
Qidiribdi-da
around.
bilan.
If you
O'zi
find
ochiladi
WS,
kimdir ochiladi o'zi.
Savage, he's gonna pop it, he's gonna get
Black Hole bo'la bera. Bera Black Hole bo'la.
Nightmare Save coming, but the Black
Black Hole.
goes out onto three.
Dagir qilgandan keyin bo'ldi-da. Dagir qilgandan keyin mana Black Hole bo'ladi.
Ichi,
Yopilib
ichi,
ketdi.
ichi.
Ismasda yopilib ketdi. Lina yopilib ketdi. Bu yerdan Shama yopilib ketadimi?
Qiyin masala.
Tomba ham yopilib ketdi. Easy. Bitta dagir bilan easy bo'ldi uyim. Всё.
That is
As Cuckoo wants to dynamite.
Sarqilib o'ynayib qo'ymaydi.
Nima qo'ymaydi?
such a clean
Bitta
counter
dagir
mechanism.
GG.
Tortga gitdilar.
Finds
Dumda 31 ming farm ko'rishlari mumkin.
So
41 minut
if
juda
he
aqlli.
tends to
Qara,
the
Tom
war, he
yopilib
heals back off to
ketdilar.
the side, pops all his auras.
U qara, Tom GG.
1.5 second win.
Nasib taxmin.
Arubik biladi, o'zi uyg'urlardi.
Qaytib qo'yadi, uyim bo'ladi beradi. Tech qara.
Mana biz yashardi, tim
Tech qara,
yashardi.
nima qilishini bilmayapti. Tech qara, yurib to'shola. Qayerda Rubik bo'ladi rostdan ana.
I mean, it's exactly
Sakrashib
what I said
keldi debdi-da
earlier.
endi qaydi.
They use
Sakrashim
that
keldi.
Yeah, I just
Tamam,
don't think
tamam.
in Roar Doom.
Sonu to'g'ri sevgililar.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Kirolmaylar, kirolmaydi deyapti. Aji, killer
Hech nima
kirolmaydi.
kirolmaymiz.
Kirolmaymiz.
Hech
Oldilar,
nima
Roshda ham
ham
berdilar. Buni
berdi.
ichida o'zi refresh bor.
And if the
Uchinchi
Lina is
Roshmi?
not
Uchinchi
playing
Rosh.
from max
Refresh
range, he
bo'yichida.
could even get caught, as was
Evet.
the case there.
Ko'rsdinglar Roshda ichini, yomon musursalar nimalar.
O enigma oladi, enigma oladi.
Playing like it's game number
Refresh
three in
yenik
game
mola
number
ez
one.
biladi. 2 loptilar
Yeah,
nima?
that's right.
Tech will X.
Easy follow.
Dum baqvat
Beni
da, dum yamansan beramiz deyaptilar, olib bermaslik uchun qo'yib ketibdilar. Baqvat yeroylar hozir meta belotdi-ku.
Leaves off.
Guess I didn't have enough mana on Mikoto.
Mana shu kuni anchaga aytdim-ku, Tomba
So
o'yinchiga
will be
damiz.
a freebie, and now WS with a second.
Tugamagin?
Tugamay ketdi.
Most of us only get one.
Nullifier kim uchun qilgan Storm?
There
Lina
it is.
Nagani
Nullifier
uchun
qilgan.
qilgan, ha?
Lucky man.
How is it 4 second-ku?
And of course, the Aegis on.
Agani yo'q-ku uni.
Ha bilmadim nima uchun qilgan.
Aegis carrier in the game.
Qilgan ku.
Has the nullifier. which
Mana Nullifier
I
bu.
don't think you mentioned.
Ha Rosh Storm.
Yo'q, uni
Did
ko'rdim.
not mention that.
Ha kimga qilgan?
Pipe sindiradi. Plus
So,
bir.
Get lucky this
A
Ha
Lincoln
400
breaker
minus qilib.
takes off the Yules, of course.
Linani sindiradi,
And a
pasifkasini.
skill-related one.
Pasifkasini o'lga tushadi.
Ha yopil ekan, Fizdina yopil
Yeah,
ekan-ku.
that's true.
Which
And
he
it
does
is
have
the
the
sharp.
sharp.
6 bergandan keyin pasifkasi sinsa yopiladi.
Yo agar shu
Hay u uchun qilganmen, shu uchun qilgan deyman.
hozir ko'ramizda, hozir qarab turgan jangda kimga berak? Jangda kim Storm uchi bilan?
Beraveradi bu hammasi bo'yi.
Ya qay bar Storm uchi bilan xohlagan odamga berib bilish kerak bu. Ushladi.
Bomba yaşatmasın diyor.
Yo'q.
Bomba
Bir-birlarida qirqanlar. Nima ushlamadi shaman, nima ushlamadi.
Qaytdilar da.
Nima ushlamadi. Wildraydilar ushlasa.
Yo'q. Facebook boş.
Marginal, how much it matters.
Refresh yo'q valla.
That you now have Enigma
Sir bu
online.
tamam.
İkincisi yanma.
Ha, ikki ekan, refresh.
Panto.
Doom tepe sapog bilan.
That's the 25 for
Bana niye berdi? Bırak ya
Hatta
berdi.
qilgan tepe sapogda.
23 Savage is level 27 on Doom.
Doom.
So starting to
Ustiga
Scammer
kelib
da.
kelma, ustiga kelib
further
Storm.
curious to see if he ends
Storm
up
ustiga
picking up an ancient on level 28 with Devour if he wants the health. Or
Bana şaman belki bir glot aydı ama şaman ya belki bir glot
I think he will keep this one.
Yeah, he does have assault.
Enigma dagger
Bo'lmasa-
katta qilish kerak, Enigma dagger katta qilish. Agan qilish kerak Enigma. Enigma agan qilish kerak, tamam uylatma. Beyin agan
Evet,
qilibdi.
boşalt.
Beyin
So
o'sha
either
tushunib
be
yetdi,
23
chunki
Savage
agan
or
keladi.
Cuckoo getting a shard.
Kimga shart? Beyinga shart,
So AoE
juda
brings
aqlli.
up, and that aligns with his Aghanim Scepter.
Ikkisiga.
That's a really big item to get.
Blast off is AoE, so that could be very good against the Fiend's Grip Ags. LSA is too small. Avalanche
boşa
is
koydum.
the best.
Yeah, it's just what are the odds if you get off a group fiend script that techies will be
Yapıldı mı?
able to find the stun, recognize it immediately, and hit all three?
Yeah.
I think if this grip
Benim
goes off,
yok,
it's
dur
gonna
be.
stay.
Hı.
So this is huge for the side of
Tamam.
Talon.
Ne bileyim. Ama telefon yok
He
mu?
can
Biz
break the
telefon.
Lincoln himself, you know, it's pretty easy for Bane, and
Well,
one of the
okay,
longest
I
cast
mean-
range abilities in the entire game. Single target, it goes through BKB in terms of breaking the Lincolns, so not too hard.
Doom qiziq ishga ikkisi bo'lsa o'raygan.
And now Aurora the ones waiting in the base, and of course they do have techies, which makes it a bit weird.
Oh yeah, this could be a great late game techies versus Enigma. We do love it.
Oh, and there's an Aghanim Scepter for Makoto. We talked about it. The Electric Vortex, Baby Black Hole.
Yeah.
Now they do have
Storm
Triple
yagan
Hole, I
qilibdilar.
guess.
Ko'rishingiz mumkin.
One of them blue, two of them
Sonra
black.
torsa ineyim oldu koysa yapılıp
Just the way
giderler.
you like your coffee.
İş yok lan.
God, no.
What would blue coffee be?
Blueberry, maybe?
Blueberry coffee.
Yeah.
Interesting. Sure you're onto something there.
Either that or a detergent.
Ateş.
Yeah,
Detergent
very,
Da faydası yok ya Murat.
very dominant flavor in the United States right now. Of course, people are hungry.
Aynen bir sayede yemem o zaman.
Yeah, that would explain the
İyi
IQ
lan.
Bir
loss
ishta
of
agan
the
bersaydi ham
tower.
nimadir uyim bilaydi.
Dakota will be able to
Hozirgacha
grab that
47gacha
one. So
beradi
only
deyman.
one more outer tower
Ha,
left.
yürüyün öyle her şeyi tırış ki.
And in this
Bilmem,
next
bilmem.
minute, like, are you
Hech
trying to
bo'lmasa
force
stan
the
berib
issue
uchraydi
with the tower?
enigmani.
No.
Uzoqqa
Görüyor.
Map control, but
Ya,
you know that
Rubik
Aurora
ideal
will leave
tamam
the
bak ya.
base once that
Beyin
base is
altı
down.
o. Uydu altısı.
Also
Tum
know
oldu.
they'll be
Ona
thousand
ne yapıldı
night.
ama?
Storm
Famous
6'da
song
ham
by Vanessa
easy.
Carlton.
Verin.
Okay. 23 Savage showing himself pretty close to the base for Aurora Kiyotaka. We've seen the tossbacks before.
Ey,
Of course, the Eidolon's
Rubik
really
qanday
good at
mana yeydi?
blowing up
O'sha
his mind
raqib
as
qancha
well.
yesa u ham shuncha yeydi bunda ham.
Unless they die fast enough for the tower.
Hem
Rubikda.
They're going to put the Roche banner down, so it looks like they do want to pressure a bit.
bu aspekte bu mana yamaydılar yani. O aspekte kamingnalar.
See if Talon, if they actually want to
Storm'da
get
yaxshi
ultra
uchigan
aggressive or
endi.
just more poke. I like the Roche banner's a
Ne mana siyamro gita.
zip, Nightfall.
Onda köpçülüğü yamaydı.
BKB this time, he's learned his lesson. Electric Vortex to start things out. Makoto pops the
Öldü.
Shivas. Still not biting.
O Link
Jumps
aga.
in, he gets the
Doom
dope
Link
for
adamı.
23 Savage. There's the grab ally though. They're gonna go through the
Ölünge
two-stun
aslında
eventually,
toktu,
but this is
zege
a
gibi.
dead Lina. The black hole comes out, but
Tomma
finally,
acıya
the
tutulu, Tomma
counter-acting
oruptu lan.
Toronto, Tokyo, Primal Aurora, Kiyotaka will die on the
Ya
other
biz
side,
de
though.
oldu
Double
sındırarak
buyback for Aurora, and
Enigma'nı.
now WS and company trying to
Sındırmadı
exit.
ku.
Bana refresh
Does
bastı.
drop. And a nice
Manası yok,
cancellation
manası
from
yok.
Kiyotaka, so he'll pick up 2 kills on the Aurora side.
Yo,
Definitely not a good trade though.
Yopi
Two
vardılar.
buybacks
İkita
is
BKB,
coming for Aurora,
ikita
And
buyback.
that might have been a game-ending fight if
Ey,
WS had enough
Türk'ta
mana.
BKB.
Classic
Qara,
problem with
2
refreshing,
marta
but
BKB bosdi
did not
nima
have enough in
Enigma,
the tank
ikkita
to
qara,
pop the
5 ta
refresh, so
BKB
he's walked in, the
bosdilar,
team
refresh
probably wasn't
bosdilar.
ready,
Yeah.
and he can't get off the second black hole with his refresh.
İkita buyback.
So he did get killed off. As you said though, it's a good result.
Storm
regardless.
ishni
He
qilolmadi
forced out two
Soblima,
core
kirdi,
buybacks, and this
kim edi,
leads
tam
way
ishdi.
to a very clear win condition. The next fight, you doom out the Lina, kill her.
Buyback
it's
qillag endi
probably
rosh
over.
torishlar kerak.
You might find the Tiny again in a black hole with Midnight Pulse. You kill him. That's probably good enough too. And you just have so many ways of doing it. You can find them with a grip, you can find them with a
Skillado.
storm zip. You can open, in that instance, you saw 23 Savage very determined in that initiation. Now, they have to be ready to defend, but they have the buyback.
They have both now, yeah.
And
Dane
they
didn't have it initially.
another Doom. If Lina gets caught...
They're definitely going to try for it.
Lina uruşunu qara. Ha beynime buyback qildi o'zi o'yinsa qancha qoldi? 20 sekund qoldi.
Hold on, this buyback on the Enigma is huge for Talon.
It's a good disengage, though. I think if they force the issue there, they lose the game. It's so hard for Aurora to avoid Lina getting doomed in this game in the current state.
How does it work?
Tuğru yürüttüm bas. Boya başkaça yürüttü.
Has Lincolns herself. Does it?
Then she has two, right?
Bilmadım
I think you cannot stack
Farkıyla
two
niye
on
anlamadım.
a target, but you can stack one on top of one that has it themselves. So let's say two of them had Lincolns and they can't both put it on the same other hero.
So she can have double Lincoln.
Lina
I believe that's
Real
still the case.
farmda.
Bravo.
This item is very
29.000
popular
farm
now.
Lina'da,
And I
Doom'da
remember they
39.000
kinda
farm.
Because I think he used to be able to stack more than two. I don't know if they got rid of that entirely, like the stacking in general, or if it's just two now.
Well, you would be unable to stack more than two because the only way you
Yeah,
could
but if
currently have two is if you have one and you give one
Right,
to
but
that.
to me that's still stacking.
Right,
But I understand what you're saying.
The limit is two.
Yeah.
In that case. But the only
still
way to
pretty
get it is
powerful.
that you hold it
Bana
yourself.
Toronto gilop.
One of the two. Well, we'll see if they
Taran
do it.
Tokyo
It
safe
could
olsun.
work as far as I'm
Safe
concerned, but I
olsun.
could be wrong about that. Like I said, Lincoln's not the most popular item
Ha,
anymore.
Dagger katta
But
qilibdi,
against
Tini
Doom,
agent termoqchi
Stay
Kings.
awake, bro. It's an important game, but
Sablian katta qilishni yo'q.
probably a bit more of a stress
Bad
one,
word.
tired one, I would imagine. But some of these players do go to bed late. I can relate to that as a night owl myself, and
is
so
that-
can you.
Is that a thing? A stress yawn?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That's why a lot of... If you look at players' camera shots during drafts of important games, a lot of the time people will be yawning.
Yeah, because they just woke up, you know?
Yeah, it's 7 p.m. in the night. It's
Aganda
important
Tini
game,
gap
just
uylab
woke up.
ko'rish kerak deb
Yes.
hisoblayman. Nima
How
qilmaydi?
degenerate do you think these players are? They're very
Yeah.
much so. You're one of them, Cinderin. Big smoke from Talon. 23 Savage. Gonna blink over the techies, so won't find a connection here.
It's
Hakikaten.
nothing time.
Ayağını ile ko'rish kerak.
Hech kim qilmayapti ham-da, shu kuchaytirish kerak ham yo'q.
Roche is up in. Give or take a minute 20 seconds.
Okay, very good.
Oh, probably a minute 10 actually. I take it back.
It's interesting. He still
Doom
has-
nima
okay, he
qilsa,
puts the
6000 puli
refresher
bu.
back in his inventory.
Agan ham shardam olmayapti, yemayapti ham nima?
But that is true. Now that he doesn't have a slot for the harpoon, he
Baybekka
can't
qarab yursa,
break the
qancha
Lincoln
3-4
himself
mingdir
as easily.
Baybekka qo'yganchi.
Oh, well, he can't. wait.
Shardam olmayapti,
Don't
shard
tell me this new
tuzildi,
neutral
ikkisini
item.
ancha kuchaytiradi.
No, it wouldn't work. That would not make sense. That does.
Ooh, mana
Have they tested
tombani
actually
mana
the
shuni
new neutrons
dagger
if they break
olgan.
Because I think
You think I sit in the server and test that? No, that's Fog.
I don't know why
Fog is the only one that does that.
I don't know why I asked you. Actually, I'm so sorry.
You don't do that either.
No, I'm trying to think if there's any new neutral item that would actually have the ability to break Lincolns at all. Just looking over them.
Like unit target,
Yeah,
the
what would
crippling
be-
blow.
I think crippling blow, yeah. Crippling crossbow doesn't, I think. Because you remember there were these neutral items that were kept, like tier 2 neutrals that people would play with at 45 minutes because they broke Lincolns.
Yeah.
And then they got removed, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think anything...
Yeah, but finding something to break Lincolns is not hard,
Beyin nima?
No,
Beyin
because
nolog.
it
Ha,
goes
o'zi
through
qancha
the
joni
KB.
bor?
right? That's the issue. That's what makes it kind of
Right.
weak.
But 23 Savage is running into that slot problem where right now he has to swap in and out his harpoon and refresher to break the Lincolns. Or he would have to drop Sanjin Yasha or Travels, which feels really bad.
Hey, what do you think about not being able to use items on a BKB target?
What do you think about a dead Beastmaster?
Yeah, that's a big one. Wow.
Easy catch. They dropped
Yeah,
Doom
they,
on him
they
as well.
proc
They
the
wanted to make
Lincolns
sure.
and they easily took him at 90 seconds. Does
Stormni
have
manlari
buyback here,
kelganda
but
53
Roche
minut
is
50
up
bo'lish
for
kerak
Talon.
kamida.
It's a very
Shunaqa
valuable
foydasi bor.
find.
Ha,
There's
ko'ramiz
no way
qani
Aurora
mana
fight this
degani
without
qancha.
Toronto Tokyo, so I think they just concede the Roche. That's a great pick.
Talon in very good position right now.
Surprised they aren't beelining it for Roche right
Beyin
now.
agan
Go
ko'rishimiz
now,
mumkin.
but
Juda aqlli beyin agani
seem
hamon
too
bilamiz. Juda aqlli, juda.
pressing of an issue for
Ikkisini
them.
yopsa bo'lar bitta agan qilib. Bir
But
kishi
anyway,
uxlatasan, bir kishi agan berasan. Всё, gigi. Ikki kishi yo'q jangda.
Now a refresher for Makoto, so he's got the double.
Rosh ichidan ancha narsa bor.
Electric
Roshda
vortex
olibdi mana agan
hole.
kamalda.
Yep.
Electric hole.
Aurora berdi Roshda. Stormda refresh bor. Dumagan yevormoqchi birdaniga.
So a freebie Roche.
Yaxshi, yaxshi. O'ziga berib kiradi.
And
Refreshlarni
that
bo'lsa ham
means
easy bo'ladi.
WS
Juda
will
zo'r.
get a refresher shard again. Has he changed his build at all? Did he have Lincoln's last fight? I don't think
Enigma
so.
refresh oldu. Pipe paska tashlab. Hammada linka bu. Hammada bilmayman nima uchun. Menimcha Tini ikkisidan endi bu Lina ultidan hammada linka bor.
Now with that extra layer has a decent chance.
Ko'ramiz. So'z bu komandada Aurora def qilbiladimi? Shuncha narsasi bor komanda. Refreshlar bor. Joska, juda joska.
See that every day. The tree volley.
Hiç yaşta yok.
A high ground defense tactic.
It's good at
Tamam
top.
ya.
It's really bad at mid.
Tini'de
Vay yangıldı.
Unless they
Tini
find-
agandi. Tini agandi. Yiyordu bilmem. Shunchalik ishonibdim o'zi. Shunchalik.
Trees everywhere.
Baybek
Arap
kerak
bir
emas.
avlan yo'qmi?
Tutalla
Demiş
Storm
kamil
bor.
ekan. Abi rag'amada demiş ashkan biladi.
Storm bor, nima qilib biladi? Bir joyga o'tib o'tirib bilammiz Storm bor uyinda.
Nature's prophet.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Throw those.
Eke bilan olsa kerak. Storm refresh qilgan. Ay, Storm mera. Roski Storm.
Duman bitib ketdi, duman bitib ketdi.
Talent.
Loren olsa lekin Storm'da.
They have all the resources.
Türk üçün yo'qorgan urat.
But of course, we talked about they
Çünkü demiş xeyirdan men olsam uchun yaqsam bo'lmaydigin-da.
Buram başlamadı belki.
Storm'da qo'shilaman, u yaqsam bo'lmaydi.
Ey, saman belki böyle.
Tamam. Sapırlayam.
They can keep playing map.
Hey,
şey-
1000 GPM if they want.
Ko'pchilikda unaqa qilsang bo'lmaydi o'zi. Manki Jon tuyulmaydi.
Emanki tuyuladi, bunaqa
Bitta bir bersa tuyulmaydi raqibchilar.
tuyuladi. O'lmasligi bilmadim, lekin joni tuyuladi.
siege wave
Sizlar qana o'lgan, lekin
will be dealt with.
Yo, Dumbo qaraqa, Dumponi realist qilaman deb.
buni ham shu
Going in here.
rekord qo'ymoqchilar.
Kirolmaslik uchun.
Bir kunlik yengmoqchilar.
Ha, o'zi nima qilmoqchi bu? BKBM bosadi, Dumni o'ziga beradi.
Chance banner.
Storm uchirdiki, yaxshi.
Zips out, they get the tier 3.
Yeah.
And the Serpent
Refresh agan Black Hole o'yin payti
work to the melee barrack.
refresh ko'tarsa,
He actually
Black
forced
Hole
out the
sinmaydimi shu?
Ye, Storm manasi
This
yo'q.
is the nullifier as well. They're going to trade BKBs
Honestly.
essentially. Is that actually it?
So I'm not sure if Nightfall had to be that stressed on the BKB there. He was double Lincolned, and then they double Lincolned him again.
Saksga berdim.
Ye, Jon olmadiki biri.
Really trying to protect their Lina as much as they can, but if that vortex
Ah, Storm'da aygisi bor ekan.
BKB, this Lincoln's layer is not as important.
The Serpent
Alina BKB'si yo'q.
The
Ana
combination of
kedi
Roche's
70
banner.
sekund.
Yeah, mission
Ha, o'zi
accomplished.
berdiki Storm kirganga.
Got it.
Ha, tamam.
All right.
Yana nima kirmayaptilar? Aygis
They
bu,
get one
amansa
lane
bu.
per banner,
BKB kedi liniyada.
then
Pushlaydi.
Komentlarni ochib qo'ydim.
Another 20 minutes should do it.
Nimanda yo'q endi.
The banner
Tamam,
has
legacy.
is a big zip from Makoto.
Tamam, yo'q,
Okay,
yozmabdi.
the AoE doom is what was reflected.
Nice. Bilmem, o'lmaydi bu.
May just end.
O'lmaydi-da bu.
Aga, uyga ham to'xtim, unga ham to'xtim.
Ha, o'lmaydi-ku, hay. Nima bu ikkovini ham
O'lmaydi,
rasmxo'rlik-ku,
qaytdilar,
rasmxo'rlik-ku.
Sindirib qaytdilar, sindirib qaytdilar.
I mean,
Ular sindirishga o'ylabdi,
perfectly
ammo
with the
sindir.
next doom, but it's probably too close for comfort. We might just be waiting for another Roche here and the tier 5s to come.
Yo, cho'tki kirsa bo'laydi-da, yana Storm ancha ichkariga kirdi. Lina BKBlarni yedi, nima yo'q, Dum kirmadi.
As it went past minute 30.
Cho'tki kirsa bo'laydi. Uyurtaga kirib beruvdi. Men kiraydim shu vaqt.
Gonna
Yeah.
find
Stormga
here.
kirdirdim, kiraydim
Yep,
ketdan,
already
boshqa
half HP
shans.
applies the Lotus as the Avatar on the other
Storm
side keeps
o'qiribdi.
looking for resistance. Is he gonna be able to get the
Ey,
lead on
qo'yib
23
qo'yibdilar,
stars?
yo'qdilar,
Able to
yo'qdilar.
attempt to TP out in the midst of the BKB.
Dum
It's
tepe,
a
Dum
bit
fast
too
eski
slow.
tepe.
Brain
On
will,
as Makoto expends
tepe
all of his
qilibdi.
mana to get to the
Beyin
other
ve
side of the
ultini
river.
bir olmayıp gitti.
Taka continuing to pursue. No.
Ay, ikki urdilar uni,
Pop
teng
the
urdi.
Lotus as Makoto. It's a hell of a
İyi,
lot
iyi,
better
iyi.
now. And now Kiyotaka getting a bit closer
Şunu
to
şatalamagan,
the
kelavergan.
divine, which
Nechinchi sekund sonda?
with Tree Volley is
58
pretty
o'tdi.
good. He doesn't have a
Öyle
Daedalus, he
be.
has the brooch instead.
3, 4, 3,
Ha,
5
da,
tamam.
da, da, mana.
I would think that's less damage.
You absolutely
Rapi
just
rakım
wait
yok mu?
for rapier, right?
Ha, aganga bir
The
saq
echo
qo'yasiz
does-
yo'q,
I mean,
deymi?
it does
Ko'p
proc
emas.
off the Tree Volley. I
Yeah,
don't know if you care about that,
just
but
the slow, right? It's kind of whatever.
Anga qilmasa kerak. Aytmoqchilar.
it's pretty expensive to.
Ben yo'q
to
debdilar.
add.
Ben biz vibe gidiyoruz.
Now Aurora looking to hunt.
5v4.
Rosh,
but
20 sekund Rosh.
of spells where that came from for Talon. Only one Doom, but they have 2 black holes.
Olsun.
We have not seen a black hole in quite
Boş
a
ama
while.
şöyle.
But this is a good time.
Jalka
to
diyor
hit
da
İyiyiz
Aziz.
Qana kimdir mo'ma, sentre mo'ma. Yo'q,
Over
hech
him.
kimda aytki yo'q.
And Jokum,
Smoke Jalka diyorlar. Killer. Shamanga smoke.
Shama easy o'shdi-da. Bizga o'pirgan jo'q. Shama easy.
And now the Aegis is gone.
And he still has the Tumblr's toys as tier 4 neutral.
Oh my god.
Nice.
That's hilarious.
Little horsey action. He has the.
Oh, and it's
unleashed.
Yeah, it is unleashed.
There's the 390 horsey.
All right, we're about to hit tier 5s here.
Bitta qo'yib qopti ekan.
Sure are.
Who is going for Helm of the Undying?
Undying.
It's the most Lincolns I've seen in a game. In
Tamam,
years.
easy olgan. Nega beri pitch stolib turibdi. Shama.
Team Shows'ni qaytaman.
Very good.
Hamma aytmaydi, qarshi ko'rganlar.
Stream qilib turib o'zing o'z
Nega
qaytaman.
qarshingda tushunmaydi.
I think we should be celebrating you rather than making fun of me when it comes to counting.
Okay.
You getting it right is a lot more
So
impressive.
say something.
What?
Say congratulations. You counted to 5. That's even worse, actually. All right, Kiyotaka will help take out the Torme, Toronto, Tokyo with the shard. Is that the double?
$5 dollar,
All
right?
the while.
Hadi fanat qilsam.
Yeah.
Second hawk and longer
Qat
duration.
tushdi, rat.
Really important minute 60.
Yes.
As 23 Savage eclipses $50,000 of net worth.
Yeah, has the refresher in his backpack again, so not really expecting to take a fight here.
What's that?
Of course, lest we forget,
Yeah.
Doom was nerfed this
Yeah.
match. Got less HP
Yeah.
region in lane. And Reddit said, wow, this hero is terrible. It's already bad. It has bad win rate. Why do they nerf it again?
I like how Panto just made a tier 4.
Tas qo'yman, tas.
What?
He just made that. Now he's gonna get a tier 5.
Nima yo'q.
Interesting.
Ko'ring keransa.
Yeah, there we go. Now we can get to
Thank
grab.
you.
All right,
I
let's
mean-
see what we got.
Kamera qani,
This
tas.
is 10 out of 10.
Notebook ham olib kelib.
It's weird.
Valve usually makes rounding errors. Okay.
All right, so Tiny, I mean, the Stygian, I mean, Divine Regalia. We're seeing a lot of people take this, and it has not, I mean, it's hard to say if it's looked good or not because they've just died right away.
Helm of the Undying on Lina is big, though.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Because he is the target, and he can do so much damage in 5 seconds if he dies. If he kills one hero with the Laguna plus all his physical burst, he gets to live another 5 seconds.
Yeah, 23 Savage goes for the same.
Pingillik.
And
Similar
Divine
logic.
Regalia onto
What's it?
Makoto.
And Undying has Helm of the Undying, very
Yeah,
fitting.
so 3 Helm of the... I was right about one item at least.
That's right. You
There
said
we-
Helm of the Undying would be good. You said Self-Exile would be bad.
Yeah, so 50-50.
Pretty good for your track record.
Oh, Books of the Dead. So Books of the Dead, we talked about this being nerfed. It's not great for pushing, but against the mind,
It's really good against
pretty
techies.
damn good.
Yeah. Let's get rid of all that garbage.
But Techies doesn't take
That's
damage
right,
from
Dan.
killing it, right? There's still a tier 2 here. I didn't even realize that. As Aurora smoked up, they will show themselves. 23 Savage blinks in to nothing as the Divine Rapier now picked up by Nightfall. He is the kill. He's going to get initiated on right off the bat. Pops the BKB. Gets to half HP already. That's a self-grab ally, I believe. As Nightfall, he's going to get doomed. And he's going to go down
Helm
with
of
the
the
Helm of the
Undying.
Undying. Keeping him alive, though. They need
But
to
I
stay
don't
close
think
to be
it was
able to pick
a-
up that. As they're
and
big
jamming me.
pull onto 3, instantly canceled by the Roar, though. And the Doom now applied to the Techies. Makoto finishing off Toronto. Tokyo is going to take out Kiyotaka as well. Divine Rapier
Nama
on the
server
deck.
again.
Who can pick it up for
Yok.
Talon to make it
Yok.
3 dead for Aurora as the buyback came out from Nightfall. They have 2 more buybacks to work with. But the Divine Rapier lost. And of course the Divine
Ich würde
Regalia
auch nicht
useless
warten.
as usual. As 23 Savage was still alive with the Helm of the Undying because of how many people died around him.
Discorddan bas qilingan
He makes
ping.
sure to use Devour on the way to the
Very
base.
important min-maxing.
Rapier on the deck is being pinged out. Nobody's picked it up yet.
Yeah, that's-
WS is
crazy.
he's like I'm Enigma and will not pick it up.
Yeah, Makoto, he's going to be pushing with these double Books of the Dead. That is a second lane for Talon.
Trying to recover the Rapier here. Not gonna happen.
Yeah, good attempt.
Nice
Courier's dead.
coverage.
I mean, who wants this, though? It's going to Gonna be picked up by Enigma, so can turn it into the spell version.
I guess so.
I guess Pipe is not crazy anymore.
He hasn't toggled it yet. There's no way you forget to toggle it, right?
Well, there's a way by not doing it.
Well, he wants to push, maybe.
Yeah, he does provide a decent amount of attack damage now, I suppose. The zip in onto the Undying. The grip from afar. Helm of the Undying activates on Undying, not confusing at all. And Kiyotaka jumped in. He bought back into this. Instantly gripped, though, by the Shackle. Already at half HP, pops the BKB, gets the toss, but Makoto is going to be just fine. WS
ready.
Yes, it is. Uses the refresher shard. They're just going to wait for their doom to come back. 23 Savage, only 12 seconds away. And he will have one doom with 60 seconds left for the refresher. Tombstone placed ahead of time. Serpent Ward's doing a lot of work again. Now the Books of the Dead coming in as well. As Kiyotaka with the tree volley. Not going to do too much at the moment. A lot of spam as the barracks now no longer protected by the tower as they're putting everything with a grab out like on top of Lina. Jumps out again. Nightfall. The doom was actually reflected there, but the black hole comes in onto 3. That might just do it. Nightfall trying to limp back to base, but he's gonna die. Electric vortex onto 3. 2 of which are dead heroes.
Black hole, black hole.
GG's come out and Talon. One burner of a game number 1, and they finally take game 1 in one series, it feels like, in this tournament.
And in classic Talon fashion too, right? We go super late, they have their incredible late game lineups and good composure, really. When you get to these games where you approach the 45, 50, 60-minute mark, a lot of what determines the outcome of games is support, being in the right place at the right time, breaking smokes, getting information, being quick and decisive on your moves, and the entire team really came together. We had a couple of beautiful black holes. We had Joken breaking one key smoke with his Shadow Blade. We had Makoto doing countless vortexes with Ags, 23 Savage going for aggressive dooms, and they also found key grips. So all 5 players coming in clutch in late game. And that's what it takes to be a good late game team. Everybody needs to be able to carry their weight. And Talon are not a team you want to go super late against if you can avoid it, but Aurora were not able to close the game out early enough. And ultimately, Doom, Enigma, and Storm becomes too much of a mouthful in the late game. Makoto 17-1 and 14 in this game.
Yeah, he was
popped off.
He had an incredible landing stage, and he just never stopped. Absolute beast performance for him. Ends the game level 30, along with 23 Savage. And yeah, if you looked at this lineup ahead of time, you're like, oh, it's going to go 65 minutes. I'd give the advantage to Talon as well, as they do take game number 1 finally.
Yeah, but if you had watched their previous matchup, which happened during Group Stage 2, then this wouldn't come as that big of a surprise, because the last time Aurora and Talon faced off, it was an 80-minute game number 1, and that was on top of a 5-minute disconnect from Aurora as well. So these two teams are well familiar when it goes into the late game, but in that previous 80-minute game, Aurora won game 1. Here, Talon are bucking the trend of them requiring some hydration to wake themselves up. Because Pyrian, they coming in hot.
This was the fight, I think, where it turned for Flipster. There, bad jump into a massive black hole. Big problems. I mean, we were talking about the fact that Lina has built these defensive items that black hole, grip, doom, they don't give a shit about your BKB and everything. They just had too much lockdown, I think, for this team. And Storm pops off, gets the jumps. It was a really nice turnaround from Flip to Talon.
Pretty much, I think you're on point, Ted. That fight right there, they're initiating on 4,000 plus HP Doom, who has status resistance, and you already talked about Lina having BKB, having Lincolns. I've said it multiple times throughout the tournament, not a big fan when you have Lina pretty much as your solo damage dealer. Tiny was at the time not dealing as much damage, but gives them just enough time. They kind of were probably aiming to get WS on Enigma because he was doing so much, but they could also check that he has auras there. He had drums, he had pipes, so seeing that he's nearby if they clicked on Doom, but not the target you want to go for.
Yeah, for me, it's a couple of points that you guys already mentioned. I think the fact that all 3 cores bought Lincolns fairly early against the Doom, but we never saw the Lincolns being a problem to proc, right? They have a Bane, they have Shadow Shaman, they have so many ways to actually proc easily, so I think that was kind of a waste of gold in some aspects. And then I think that fight that we talked about, big mistake by Aurora, right? You just saw them being smoked. You even pinged it out, and you still go for the Doom kill there. I think that was a big mistake. But I think also Talon, they seem to be so good at just waiting and dragging out dragging out the game, outskilling the enemy, and just taking the right fights. And I think that's something that, if you're going to play against Talon, you really need to think about this. Like, they are so good at outskilling you.
Pretty much. All it took was one that big fight, and they could feel much more comfortable coming into the fights. They knew that all they have to do is zip in, try to bait some of the BKBs. Later on, you saw, like, you're fighting against Doom, you're fighting against Black Hole, so many BKB piercing abilities. Bane's Grip, who also had Aghanim Scepter. They had a pretty amazing game. Mikoto, he was popping off from start to finish, pretty much keeping them in game. Did die only one time in that game, which is pretty impressive.
Justifies them giving him that 18th pick when we were wondering that why isn't Gyro coming out. And also, Flipster Talon are clearly veterans of what happens in late game fights. So Brian noticed something that maybe you might not have caught. Brian, what happened?
Yeah, so I didn't know this interaction would work this way, but it turns out Helm of the Undying as a neutral item might be a bit of a double-edged sword sometimes. Is what's going to happen is when somebody dies near you, your 5-second death duration gets extended. So here we're going to see that Nightfall, his Helm of the Undying goes off first, and then he doesn't count as dead on 23 Savage. So when Lina dies, he gets the extra 5 seconds on 23 Savage, which allows him to refresh, Doom, and effectively kill more targets, which then means he gets to stay alive for what looks like it's going to be 30 seconds. So oddly enough, the only reason that Doom was able to have as much impact as he had in that fight was because of the initial Helm of the Undying delaying Lina's death until his Helm of the Undying had already triggered.
Guys, it's not funny. I can hear Undying saying this. Give me back my helm. Stop it. It's not funny. There were a couple of guys that did have helm, which is also pretty hilarious. But also, there was a point in game where you could feel that they don't have enough damage. They try to go for Divine Rapiers, but also playing this type of a game where they're controlling Roshans. They are the ones who have Snakes from Shadow Shaman. They also got 2 Necro Books as well, which makes it pretty much impossible. They drop the banner. They go in with the Snakes. They kind of were afraid of going high ground against Tiny and Techies for a long time, but they found the opportunity, took down Roche, and then used the banner, and this was what opened up the game for them to end up.
Although, Brian, I know that we got to watch that game. As much as I've been very excited to see Talon make this recovery, what happened to the they always lose game 1 theory?
Well, I feel like that game, the biggest difference, I hate to say, was in Aurora's hands, because Talon found themselves once again down like 7-8k gold at a 15-20 minute mark. But the thing that Talon's always done well this event is punish the teams when they take that one big mistake and they end up taking a fight that like shifts the entire tides of the game. I feel like when Talon doesn't find themselves in that spot, that's why they are this far in the tournament, and that only happens, it seems, in the first game of the first series of the day. So the fact that they got this one, Talon, I'm pretty, they're looking pretty good to win this series.
Yeah, I'm very, very encouraged after seeing that game 1. And again, I'll touch on the decision to give Mikoto that Storm Spirit, because all of us were surprised that Beastmaster comes out, and of all heroes, you decide to go for the mid laner on 18, but the boy's delivering.
I was worried that they didn't have enough jump to get to Lina. It turns out they did. And this Storm, Mikoto just absolutely popping off 17-on-1, got the Ags, just had that control. And then if he's got that Vortex, then you've got Black Hole coming in and everything. So it was really nice. I'm wondering, what is the interaction between Helm of the Undying and Wraith King Ags?
Which one pops first?
I'm just thinking, because if you die around Wraith King with Wraith King Ags, you stay alive as a ghost. At that point,
Should
that runs
extend,
out,
like,
you
I would
die.
say that it should extend it by 5 seconds on top of Wraith King's Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah, but which one goes first, though? Because you're be getting bonus time if someone dies around you if you're in the Helm of the Undying duration, but you won't be getting
his
bonus time
ulti takes
otherwise.
priority when we're talking about Aegis, so I assume that's #1 priority here as well.
I think it's, I mean, I don't know. It could just,
Theory
both
crafting.
could just trigger, but I think maybe Wraith King triggers first, and then when you actually die after the ghost, then Undying.
That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe.
That's
But
a strat there.
I think, by the way, for this game, I also think at some point in this game, the Aurora supports completely fell off and become more or less useless, right? We see the techies just planting mine in his base for like 20 minutes. He doesn't really do anything. No stun, no real damage output, no save. Same for Undying. You know, you try to save the Lina with Tombstone, but like he's already dead inside that Tombstone. Right? You just need to click it. So I think that's something that Aurora it was pretty expensive, the fights that they lost, right? Because they don't scale as well as Talon. And maybe that's also why Talon felt so confident just dodging and keep scaling, is because they knew actually these heroes just fall off the Undying, the techies. So I think, yeah, Talon are smarter than you may think, I think, when it comes to playing the game.
Yeah, in contrast, the Talon supports were scaling very well. That Bane getting himself the Aghanim Scepter was becoming a huge nuisance, and just the fact that both these supports were so survivable, their main job was to pop Lincolns all day long, which they were doing.
You have so many abilities, every single ability that they do have. You have Shadow Shaman with 3 abilities, and you have Bane with pretty much 4 abilities to pop the Lincolns. He also got the Aghanim Scepter relatively fast in this game, even without getting the Shard early from Tormentor. He was still keeping up with the network, and also both of these supports are very good at getting the pickoffs. Like Lina, she needs to be super careful. She gets jumped pretty much by Shadow Shaman before they got all these Lincolnses, before Shard on Undying. It makes the fights very, very difficult for them, and their positioning was top tier in this one.
Well, we got an opportunity to talk about this game for a good maybe like 8 or so minutes. How quick can you shower, Aurora? Because you need to turn things around if you want to stay around in Dream League Season 26. Or maybe Flipster Town will close it out 2-0. We'll find out after the break.
Have you ever wondered how our homely Rasta the Shadow Shaman came to be? How a simple hill troll discovered powers that would allow him to fight against wizards, monsters, and soldiers? We know the answers. So join us as we open the books of lore and embark on a new journey in Tales from the Lore Keeper. Episode 2, Rasta the Shadow Shaman.
And welcome back to this special event. Sunsfan here with Synderen as we watch a middle-aged balding man try to make some tea.
Yeah, I've heard he's got a lot of experience with this. I think he's been in the competitive scene for, I want to say, about 35 years of tea making. So I'm expecting some really high-level tea making today. I know he's been exploring the meta a little bit, and I hope we get to see perhaps something new out of him. Obviously, the previous tea events we've seen from him, I feel like it's been a lot of the same. So maybe he can bring out something today.
Yeah, I was told beforehand that he might be a little bit challenged, but we'll see if he can get this to work in the favor that we actually agree with, Synderen.
Yeah, well, so far he's looking through his options and nothing really coming to mind here. These are also, to be fair, quite basic selections here. So, all right, he's gonna end up going with, I believe this is a lemon. I can't quite see it. It's
yellow, that's for sure.
Yellow label.
Okay.
As his starter. He's gonna open with yellow label here. Can't say I love that choice.
It looks like he's going to try to bank that into the mug, but he fails horribly.
If you would have fooled me with the 35 years of experience there, it's probably going to add some good flavor to get a little bit of the ground into it, you know?
Yeah, it depends on where you're from, but absolutely. That could be a cultural thing. I'm not sure where he's from, but he does look quite British.
Depending on who stepped there earlier, perhaps, or if there's any animals around, then perhaps a little bit of extra flavor.
Looks like he's going for some sugar here, Synderen. Don't forget, got to be careful here.
Okay.
You don't want too much sugar, of course. Unless you really despise it.
Was that 2?
That's 2 cubes so far. Okay, he's going to just dump the entire thing in there, it looks like.
That is...
Okay. He might actually be American, come to think of it. Maybe not British after all.
So you're not much of a tea person. I think this maybe could be more your cup of tea, if you will.
This actually might be something I would attempt to drink.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to try to pour the liquid in. It looks like it is quite hot, and he's going to do it from quite a distance. He's spilling pretty horribly.
Pretty bad accuracy. I think that's 80% accuracy. I've seen better, but I've also seen worse. You could have knocked it over.
Yeah, he's gonna look in the fridge. I'm not sure.
Is that? Oh, excellent!
Soda.
Adding some soda. Really, this is your.
Wow.
Yeah, it's getting better and better for you, isn't it? Oh, that vintage.
Oh, that is an interesting texture for that orange drink.
Yes.
It's a little too yellow, I would say. I'm used to the neon orange, so
I will say, I don't know if it will taste any sweeter than it was already going to with the 16.
No, he's taking a sip.
16 pieces of
sugar. He does not like it at all. That is a dumpster fire, it looks like.
All right. Oh!
Okay, gonna get some champagne.
That is an interesting alternative solution here to the tea, and he's actually just gonna end up settling for the Magnum.
I respect it. If you put something in there and you just don't like it, be honest with yourself. Thanks for watching this edition of the TI Championships. That was not a great showing.
Yeah, unfortunately, we only had one contestant, so, you know, what can you do?
Flipster Talon starting things off in this lower bracket semifinal. Strong, because they are up 1-0 against Aurora Gaming. And actually, in the meanwhile, Brian was on the quest to find more information about our supposed hypothetical between Wraith King and Helm of the Undying. What'd you find out?
Yes, Detective BSJ on the case here. I discovered that Wraith King Ags is second priority to Helm of the Undying. If I die next to Wraith King, the Helm of the Undying will go off first. Okay. And at the end of the Helm of the Dying duration, depending on how many kills you get, if you are then within range of Wraith King, you will get the Wraith King Ags afterwards. But the big caveat is, if your Helm of the Undying was on cooldown when you died, you'll go into Wraith form, but if you refresh it or somehow get the cooldown back of the Helm of the Undying, you will not get the Helm of the Undying buff from the Wraith King buff. So, long story short, Dota, inconsistent mechanics, totally makes sense, and I'm sure you guys will need that knowledge in your future pubs sometime.
Well, Detective BSJ, you're off the case.
Thank you.
Hand in your gun and your badge. Thank you.
Too powerful. Much as how Flipster Talon were in this game number one. Now, as I had mentioned before, whenever these two teams faced off in Group Stage 2, it was a full 3-game series, but Aurora had won their very first 80-minute game. So Aurora are capable of taking things late, but they probably need the right heroes to do it. And Lacoste, you had mentioned that time and time again, whenever you see Lina be the only damage dealer, you're generally discouraged by her in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, they had the opportunity to kind of take this game, but they needed to close it out relatively early before, as Misery said, these two supports, they kind of become relatively useless. But overall, I feel like Lina, she just doesn't deal enough, especially with this type of an item build. So I want to see something that is paired up with Lina that deals quite a lot of damage as well, not just her being the sole damage of the team. And also Toronto Tokyo, we got to point out that he had a great game. He was like 8-0 and 5 at one point. They were putting a lot of pressure at that time. Supports from Talon couldn't really do much. So this Beastmaster offlane definitely works, but kind of falls off when we're talking about dealing the damage at the later stages of the game compared to the previous Beastmaster with the Aghanim Scepter.
We'll see if that makes a reemergence in game number 2, but right now it seems like things are already a little bit different as we take a look at our draft. Aurora banning out the Templar Assassin, the Kunkka, and the Slark. Flipster Talon, they ban out their own Doom, although they were not first pick this time, as well as banning out the Willow, the Magnus, and the Ancient Apparition. And Aurora start out with a first pick Naga Siren.
I'm curious to see how Aurora Gaming chooses to adapt to Talon, because I feel like the approach of going with Techies and Dying Beastmaster is maybe not the best against Talon. You have to play very clean, at least to close the game out, because they're so good at splitting, they're so good at choosing the fights correctly. But this Naga pick tells me that perhaps they're interested in going a bit more late. Maybe some Naga combos, like pushing out the lanes, get the song going. Late game is always going to be very strong, right? So maybe that's something that they have been talking about, how we need to have supports that scale. Maybe every hero needs to scale, right, against Talon. So yeah, curious to see what they're cooking with this Naga. And then we have the Talon just going with their Lina. I think their Lina might be a bit stronger just because Mikoto on Lina is some god mode level things.
Agreed.
So I would like to see Mikoto just playing the Lina this game. I didn't like it as much on 23 when he's played it, but we'll see.
Do you think another option, if you're playing against Talon, a team that we know is going to go for late game stuff, is to just pick a team that wins early and pushes super hard and close the game out?
I think that's what we almost saw, right?
It didn't work.
Because they had this really strong timings. I think it did work, but I think they made bad choices in terms of the fights. There was not just going on the Doom. There was fights earlier, like the top one where Lina BKB'd, Tiny jumped in deep. That was actually the real game determiner, I think, that one. And then I think also the item builds of going for all these Lincoln Spheres. I think there are better choices, buying more damage so you can actually kill the targets that you're going on, right? We saw the Doom survive through, like, I don't know if it was 20 plus Lina right clicks, right? That shouldn't happen. So I think there are some things that they could have done differently, but they might have not won the game still, just because Talon are so good at dragging on the game and delaying and taking the fights correctly.
I wonder how much of that is remnants of how the tiebreaker went for Aurora, because Brian, I know that you had mentioned that Aurora were playing some of the safest Dota that we had ever seen, and they won as a result of it. So if they maybe took the wrong lesson away from that tiebreaker and was like, oh, if we play safe, then maybe we can win more games of Dota, but there is a such thing as playing too safe.
Yeah, I feel like watching Nightfall play Ursa yesterday was just a very different story to me in regards to the way this guy looks in the game. I resonate with Nightfall a lot with the way he likes to itemize, being a bit overly defensive, prioritizing how do I survive these fights rather than in games like that last one. You're against Doom, you're against Enigma, you're against Shadow Shaman. This is like every carry's nightmare of I could have 12 slots and I could still die to these heroes in terms of defensiveness. And when I look at Nightfall, I would love to see him on a Sven or an Ursa this game, this melee guy that gets up in the face of the Lina, will win the man fight and inevitably scale that way, because I think those heroes' innate aggression kind of counterbalances his, I feel like, instinctual defensive item builds.
Sometimes the best defense is a strong offense, and Flipster's Talon are definitely starting off their first two picks with some high offense. Marcy as their first pick of the second phase.
This is the hero we didn't talk about when we were talking about pairings for Lina. Potentially from the safe lane, Boxy showed a really great performances on this hero, bailing V-Tune multiple times, if you remember that game when he was playing Luna. This is something that Lina, I would say, need. These type of heroes, Tusk who can save her. This is also a setup for them, but also just the damage as well. It feels quite a lot. Sometimes Lina needs that extra bit of a kick, as we've seen, especially with the item build that they were going for. So I assume Aurora will pick up one more position, one more support here, and then this still opens up potential Enigma coming out for them, which I would definitely, well, maybe not now that Centaur is picked, just disregard that, but I feel like WS on Centaur also looked godly. It's also a hero that builds into 2 auras. We haven't seen many heroes do that. Maybe we saw Rise of Pango from the offlane that kind of does the same. This is something that Ace did, going for Crimson and Pipe, but Centaur does give that relatively earlier.
We actually saw Enigma last game go for both Pipe and Crimson, which was actually very good for the team fights that they won. I think that was a very smart choice instead of trying to get those black holes early game, because that's where it's impossible to black hole. I say that, and then he walks in and get a 4-man black hole top lane, right?
Yeah.
But still, it should be hard, right? Against techies, against Undying, Tombstone, Beastmaster summons and stuff like this. So that was, I think that was a very key reason why they also won that last game, is his item choices. I think they were very good. But yeah, Aurora also just not really jumping the gun on their core picks here, just going for the stable Centaur. As the Mirana is interesting with the Naga, right? It's a classic combo as well. Always has the potential to scale into late game as well with the 5-second arrow potential there.
Yeah, and Mira's shown familiarity on the hero. They beat Yakult Brothers with it as well. Although Talon, on the other hand, this is their first time running the Marseille, so there is still room for them to expand their hero repertoire.
The Talon 2 heroes right now have a lot of flexibility. I could see Mikoto playing Lina, whereas Jokem goes on Marcy. Potentially it could be Kuku Marcy and 23. Okay, so it looks like it's going to be Jokem Marcy and Kuku Nature's Prophet now. Nature's Prophet did get nerfed just now though. And I think that was one of the more significant nerfs in the B patch. I think it was 1200 range.
No, for his heal, is that it?
Yeah, down to 900, and then his ult base damage also got nerfed slightly, I believe.
By 10, yes.
Yeah. Still good hero though. Still does the same stuff as it always, like the teleportation is just innate, a good ability. So always has the potential to have high impact.
I'm a little worried about this support duo from Aurora Gaming. Again, these two supports are not really scaling in terms of damage. Like Mirana can be very hit or miss type of a hero. I think it's not about the damage that they picked here. It's more about we want to use this Moonlight Shadow, go for the pickoffs, maybe try to find this Lina, and if Marcy's not around, there's not going to be a save. But they also have like still no big setup for Naga Sleep. Like there's literally nothing. Maybe later there's going to be Aghanim Scepter on Storm Spirit, but other than that, it's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Could you see Io getting picked up here by Flipster Talent? Goes well with Bristol, goes well with Marcy.
Well, who would go mid
and then
in that case?
put Lina mid and...
Oh, Io Marcy, safe lane.
Nah,
yeah.
I think it could work, but I think it's unlikely here. I think they're gonna use their ultimate last pick to pick either a hero from Mikoto or 23 Savage, or even WS, because I think Bristleback could potentially also be the carry, right?
Yeah.
We saw some
Kiritage
who was playing
yesterday.
played yesterday. So when he plays it to that, you know, extent and show how it works, I'm sure 23 is looking at that and saying I can play that too. So I think their last pick is actually very flexible here. Could be all 3 roles potentially, depending on what Aurora Gaming ends up doing.
I would love. Oh, go ahead.
That's okay. You can go.
I would love to know why Flipster Talon stopped playing Lina mid. Like they were the team that I felt like picked Lina mid, or picked Lina first in this tournament when the new patch came out, and they were only playing it mid. And the last few times they've played it carry, and I just love Mikoto on this hero, and I also think that Lina carry has been lacking a bit in the. If you are against a pipe, then your mid game is really awkward because even though Lina's a right clicker, it's all Maelstrom, you're using Laguna as well. You are, I'd say, like 60 to 70% magic damage still at that portion of the game. And every game we've been seeing, like you see this Pipe Crimson come out, and when you have Lina plus Tiny, even though, or like any other normal mid, right? You just lack the physical damage, and then you compare it to something like the Ursas that I've been very convinced by, even when they don't have good lanes. Nightfall had a bad lane yesterday on Ursa and ended up 18-1 and 15 or something like this. So I would love to see that swap up to Lina mid, and also I want to see once again Nightfall on this melee guy like the Ursa, perhaps like the Slark, something.
I think also one thing that Lina should do this game in comparison to the last game is buy that Silver Edge.
True.
3rd or 4th item, like get it online pretty quick against heroes like Storm and Centaur. It's really nice to have, so that you have a way of not showing in the fight.
Positioning.
Like, I think that was a big mistake by Nightfall last game, in my opinion, to not go for that Silver Edge. He kept getting jumped by the Storm and the Doom over and over, right? Like, I think it's, yeah, I think that's important in this game as well. Weaver, okay.
Well, they don't have the best lockdown on Flipster Talon, so we can just run about and do Weaver things, I guess.
It's Bloodseeker hero. Maybe not with that draft.
Come on, give us the Ursa, man. This hero, how is it going unrecognized in these drafts? Is it losing in scrims? It's been owning in this tournament.
I thought they might go for something with more control, because right now this Weaver and Storm are going to cause a lot of issues. If there was no Naga Siren, this would be kind of godly Faceless Void type of a game, because he ruins both of these heroes. It's just that Naga Siren pre-BKB is going to counter all of your Chronospheres, which makes it very difficult to play.
That's true. They don't have, I mean, at this point, do you even go for a hero like that, right? You just, maybe you're committed to playing the map on Flipster Talon, low cooldown base, Dota?
Maybe you can also play something like Nas in the offlane here.
That could work.
Catch that Weaver Arena.
There you go.
Okay.
But that's even low that they did. They bought even more
good.
so into the low cooldown aspect. What's the longest cooldown on Flipster Talon? Is it Nature's Prophet ulti, pretty much? None of these heroes operate, even the heroes that do have cooldowns, the Laguna, the Prophet ulti, they don't actually require these spells in order to participate in the game. So one team's got the teamfight wombo, the other team's got the pickoff.
Ted, your turn. It's your boy.
Be unbiased, Ted. I know you're excited to see the axe.
Oh, this could go either way. You never know. Maybe it's not a good axe game, I don't know.
Perfect answer. Now be biased.
They cannot lose. They cannot lose. This hero does not lose.
Mikotolina doesn't lose.
Mikotolina also doesn't lose.
But mainly, Axe doesn't lose.
How about the other heroes on the board? How about Aurora's heroes, Lacoste? What you feeling?
Not too much team fights. They're very good at getting pickoffs, but there's also not that much team fight on side of Flipster Talon. I don't know. I kind of like Mikotolina, undefeated yet. Axe sitting at 75% win rate as well. This hero has proven to be like super strong, even though he didn't receive like any kind of relevant buffs in the previous or patch before that. But yeah, I believe in this hero. Big believer.
I think the biggest buff to Axe is that most of the carries are ranged heroes right now, and the SNY status resistance keeps getting nerfed, so this whole Blade Mail blink timing is really potent, and Jokim and WS have had lanes where I'm like, on paper, they're going to lose them, and then they somehow even go even or perhaps win it, and that was my only concern for this aspect, so I'm all in on the Axe. Period.
All right, then.
Neil, just one last thing. I'm calling them Aurora. They're on the next flight out of here. Woo!
We didn't catch that.
There was a great paper airplane.
there was a paper airplane.
It was beautifully crafted. Instead, we'll listen to some beautiful tunes from our band. Ladies and gentlemen, the PogChamp Pandas.
Between Talon and Aurora, and Talon's lineup has Pyrian and myself very excited. Cinderin, the Axe, everybody's favorite hero to watch and play, usually doesn't get to see the spotlight in pro gameplay. We have only had 4 games in this tournament, has a good record though, 3-1. They have a Marcy support with the rebound facet, which allows Axe to initiate before Blink, which I think is really cool.
That's an interesting idea, yeah.
But yeah, Talon, very, very aggressive lineup. Love to see it. Can Aurora extend this to a game 3?
I think Aurora's lineup looks a little bit more stable, if you will, in terms of, you've got the Naga Siren that has a very good track record this tournament. You're running it together with very stable follow-through. You've got Ensnare into Arrow, you've got Stormpull into Arrow, Centaur Stomp into Arrow, Disengage, Team Fight.
Makoto, Hoof Stomp finds him. They had the blood grenade on him as well, but the rebound into the high ground. He gets inside of the sprout from Cuckoo, the little bit of heal, as Kiyotaka looks like he's going to go down. So 23 Savage ends up with the first blood. Mira running away through the river. Both heroes very quick thanks to that amazing change. And it ends up being Mira dropping, and Makoto does end up falling to Nightfall. So in the end, a 2-for-1, but first blood to Talon.
Great result for them. Considering Aurora were the ones looking to initiate a fight there, did not get the outcome they were hoping on the Lina. Instead, this turnaround play from the side of Talon.
I think Makoto did lose one creep in the lane before being able to come back.
Yeah, well worth it then.
Could be horribly wrong, actually. Maybe it was not the case.
So far the numbers say a 1,000 advantage for Talon. I'm going to trust Dota over you, whether that was good or not. But yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit more about...
I didn't say it wasn't good.
I want to talk a little bit. You said Lina lost a creep and therefore it wasn't worth it. Anyway.
Just mentioned.
Yeah, okay. Looking at the Axe, he's always going to be the talking point of any game. This hero is very polarizing. Part of the reason he has not seen much play in general is that even in good games, Axe has a tendency to fall off. It's like very... It's on a knife's edge in a lot of games, whether you can really get the job done or not. But I think what Talon see in this game, in addition to, of course, as you mentioned, being able to rebound him in, the matchup against Weaver is very good for Axe. Weaver in fights will often try to Shukuchi through the enemy team and play on that mobility. If you get caught mid-Shukuchi by an Axe call, you can get 100-0'd by Blade Mail. There's nothing stopping him from truly getting that off either. Centaur can't really counterplay this. The Song can always counterplay these types of plays, but it is very fast. The damage comes out very quickly. And on top of that, Axe should have a very good laning stage against Naga Weaver. What are they going to do to him? He's going to get a Vanguard and he'll free farm.
Yep, as you say that, they're getting pressured out of the lane, though, onto the tier 1. The rebound in.
Well, who's pressuring who?
WS, still level 2. Panto, Battle Hunger applied, and this will eventually be a kill going the way of Talon, but will they lose WS on the way? Nightfall, applying as much pressure as he can. Shukuchi is up under the tower. The Berserker's photo is up. Beautiful timing. Nightfall dies under the tower. He just gets level 3. Levels Berserker's call, and man, oh man, what a start for Talon.
He might have just anticipated that he was, without a doubt, going to level the second point counter helix, but I love when Axes do this. I think the 1-1-1 build in a lot of games is actually better than the 0-1-2 that's more common.
Especially this lane.
This kind of situation, and the lane in general. And he timed it perfectly. He didn't get hit by the Shukuchi damage, right? He got him on the way in, I think. Either way, job well done. 2,000 gold lead minute 3.
Yep.
A great start for them.
23 Savage playing the Bristleback this time around. And Toronto Tokyo will be playing Mr. Centaur, of course. Gets off the Hoof Stomp, but just a little residual damage as 23 Savage already has 3 kills in this game. So an incredible start for him as the Swarm comes out into the ensnare. As WS gets off a call only onto the 1, though. So Talon's still getting pressured quite a bit in this lane. As WS has the Ring of Health and still 600 away from finishing the Vanguard, which will make him close to unkillable in the early stages.
Healthy amount of creeps in the tower, though, and also has a healing salve to get up to full to be competitive in the lane. Got the water rune before he was forced out, but it's good news for the side here of Aurora. They get both waters. Kiyotaka desperately needed some resources here to be able to be somewhat competitive against the Lina. The mid lane actually for Kiyotaka going quite well so far. This is not an easy matchup, especially when Lina gets more levels. The constant long-range harassment, you're always outranging the Storm Spirit. You had the advantage from the first blood fight. Kiyotaka still able to somewhat hold his own here at least.
Yep, relatively even mid lane. Makoto with a bit of an advantage, just very slight, as we see a call onto Nightfall. The ensnare with the reel in for Jokum, but now you have the rebound on top. Nightfall dead.
I love this lane. I don't think I've seen it played before.
Very cool.
I am on board with Marcy Axe. It looks super fun to play. It's also easier to look fun to play when you have a good lane matchup, of course, for this type of lane, but...
I mean, let me ask you this.
Really cool.
We talked about Axe's build being you either go Vanguard Blink or Blade Mail Blink. Can you go Blade Mail and Vanguard before Blink with the Marcy on your team?
It's not out of the question, but I still do think it's just safer to give yourself that opportunity to make the moves. He's actually going to get reeled into the tower. That's funny. Doesn't really do too much.
Taka, only level 5 inside of the Sprout. Cuckoo helping set up a kill for Makoto. As Talon continuing to snowball this game. They really woke up with aggression today. They had a cold shower, I feel like, Syndrin.
Yeah.
A rarity these days. So I've told. Panto. I mean, that is kind of the issue, though, that you brought up from the Talon side, is that the song can be really powerful. It's going to force out BKB for the axe, which, I mean, he typically would go for anyway, late stage of the game. There's Arrow, a melee one onto Cuckoo, trying to get to the high ground. Looks like he's resigned to his death. Tries to deny himself on the creeps. It's going to be close. No, they're going to get a residual kill, though. Makoto takes out Mira, so it's a 1-for-1.
Joe comes nearby, though.
Yes, he is. He pokes him. Dispose. Back into Makoto's arms. 23 Savage coming in to steal some XP. Successful maneuver from 23 Savage.
And we'll get the stack as well. Everything for Talon coming together right now. This is a total stomping. See, this is the standard Talon game 2. But today, they also won game 1.
Yeah.
They've had quite a few very one-sided affairs, both for and against themselves. I have yet to see, I believe, Talon crush an early game and then lose the game. So Aurora definitely have a challenge ahead of themselves.
The real end. Arrow not close at all. WS turns this around now onto Panto. Illusions, as long as they don't hit him. Okay, he actually chops down Panto. Looks like he had a lot of health, but...
Axe won a 1v3, Shannon.
Yes, that's pretty good news for Talon, and Aurora should be scared.
That
a level 4 Weaver versus a 6 Axe, as there's the rebound. Call to come as well, and a choppity chop for the road. WS, double kill. This lane's a dumpster fire for Aurora.
The worst part about that for Aurora is I don't even think you kill him if you hit the arrow. Like, these heroes don't have damage to kill this guy.
Oh, good attempt.
WS is way too tanky with the Vanguard. You've got Weaver, Mirana, and Naga trying to kill him. I mean, good luck. Nightfall a little bit stumped here, understandably so. This is probably the hardest Aurora have been beaten in a single game this entire tournament in the first 8 minutes. Just getting run over by the side of Talon, bringing something fresh to the table here. The Axe, part of 7 of 11 kills. I love the creativity of running this with Marcy. It's super cool. It's very effective so far. All lanes going well for them. We haven't really talked much about Bristol, kind of because the lane is a nothing burger. You're playing Bristol against Centaur.
They have the connection this time. It's a 4 versus 1. Can WS survive? He is not. Kill goes the way of Kiyotaka, a much needed one for Aurora.
It takes them so long to kill him, but they get it done. Now Kiyotaka is back into mid. Now he needs to make sure he's not on the receiving end. Joachim is set up. Did not connect, just barely.
Kiyotaka pretty low on mana right now. Another ensnare comes out, and that's the Reelan has ridiculous range.
Arrow missed.
That long.
Mira on his last leap will get out. But Makoto has a haste in the bottle, so if they want to kill him, they have to 100 to 0 him in their stuns. Well, all this is happening.
Is he actually going to get dove here? No.
The reason I say this lane is a nothing burger is not because it's a draw, it's just because there's only one outcome when Centaur plays against Bristleback, the way I see it. Unless the early laning stage for Centaur becomes a stomp fest in your favor, Bristol is just going to farm and keep boxing you out. It's very straightforward, and the expected result here that 23 Savage is bullying Toronto out of the lane. Not really much you can do about this. And we talked about how difficult it is to kill the Axe. Good luck with the Bristle. He has 2,000 health in level 2 Bristleback.
Yeah.
It's tough for Aurora to find any place on the map. Kind of the only core that even feels remotely killable with a 2 or 3 man squad is the Lina. Speaking of, we'll just find a little Mira. Dies midair during the dispose.
5k lead for Talon.
Yeah, here goes the top tower
and the thing is, with this lead, having a Bristol, having an Axe, they can keep the pressure on.
Oh, yeah.
And they are, what, 2k away from the Ags on 23. And for WS, Wait, what did he buy? Oh, he went for the phase boots first. Okay, so it's going to be phase boots into blink.
Yeah. That's good. He's protecting the 10-minute rune. It will be bottom. He gets the call.
Gets the call successfully. The rebound to follow the shot.
My God, it's enough.
Kiyotaka dead. Panto still only level 5, so no song to work with his Cuckoo inside his own Sprout. He's going to be fine. As Mira, he's out of leaps. And he's out of life.
Good wand usage. At least doesn't get chopped.
Yeah, that's too bad. I was really feeling that culling blade down for 74 seconds.
The ultimate silver lining here. Nice, guys. We didn't get killed by culling blade. But we got killed by the Marcy instead.
Yeah, support Marcy owning right now, Jokum.
This is, for all intents and purposes, the makings of a 25-minute game. This one is going to be really tough for Aurora to bring back. And Talon, they've shown that in stomping games, they're not afraid to put on the pressure. They have a very good understanding of, all right, this is a slow game. We need to make sure to farm up. These are our timings just as much when they're crushing. They'll not let their foot off the gas, and so far in this game, I mean, what a dream game to be Prophet in. Your 2 side lanes are stomping. You can just go wherever you want with your teleportation and find kills. Cuckoo's been in 8 of them so far on the Prophet. Now the ulti has been unlocked, Wrath of Nature. A really nice ability to have together with Axe. It can often make the difference between whether you get people in Culling Blade range or not. The good news for Aurora is you have Song of the Siren finally, so a little bit of a layer of protection that is probably going to prevent a couple of kills, but is it going to give you any? That's the bigger question.
Yeah, they don't exactly have, I mean, they do have arrow set up, right? I mean, they've already had that with the ensnare anyway, as we're going to see. The dispose from Jokum. Okay, WS not even playing the connection is Kiyotaka. So be a bit careful with his mana. Jokum eventually taken out, and now WS in a 1 versus 4. The Stampede make it a 1v5 as the Nature's Prophet comes to play. The Song of the Siren. WS is still fine for the time being. Have they run out of resources? There's the call to follow. They finally take out WS again, but Toronto Tokyo is going to pay the ultimate price on Nightfall. On the run, no longer with time lapse. Moonlight Shadow upon him, but they have the vision. They have the kill. Double kill for 23 Savage. It's going to cost Aurora heavily. Just to take out that Axe, they lose 2 cores.
They even did a really good job there. I feel like Aurora, very good kiting. They kept playing on the angles. They did not get hit by the rebound. They did not get hit by the call a singular time, and still the kill is just so, it's such a long time to get through him. Cuckoo helping out with, I believe, 2 sprouts there with some healing as well. Makes that get ever the more difficult, and it turns into effectively an even trade here in the net worth with these kills expended. Both sides. Kiyotaka rushing travels again on this storm.
Doesn't have that much mana.
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay, he's fine. Well, I say that. Sprout makes it a little bit more difficult. Now he's truly out of mana, but no more chase to come. Boots of Travel coming out.
He is, I believe, the only player
again
in this tournament to rush this on Storm. Does it basically every single time. I think this, when you're this far behind, is super risky. You have no impact right now.
That's one word. That's one word for it.
Because the alternative is to go the standard route where you go, let's say, Treads, Witchblade, and then you come online much earlier, and you can perhaps, I think you just need more damage.
Yeah.
You already saw how much they struggled.
Stampede, 23 Savage. They try to get to the other side. Arrow does hit him in the back. TPs are coming. 23 Savage doing a lot of damage. Makoto comes in from the sideline, takes out Mira. Kiyotaka as well. And it looks like Centaur next on the list. Triple kill for Makoto. Talon completely dumpstering. What an amazing performance so far.
This is the price you pay when you rush Travels on Storm. His damage was pitiful on that kill.
Yeah, I don't want to harp on it too much, Cinderin, but it's Kiyotaka, so I will, of course. There's no way buying this literally every game, no matter the situation, that it's correct.
I would agree with that.
I'm just going to say that outright.
On a theoretical level, I just don't see it. Cuckoo gonna dodge the arrow. Here comes Storm.
WS in the vicinity. Kiyotaka's already used a lot of mana. Good thing for him. He does have the move speed with the Boots of Travel to get away.
WS has Blink.
There it is. On to Panto with the creeps to help out. The chop comes. WS with another stack to his name.
11K lead, minute 14.
This is disgusting to watch.
You have no map on Aurora. You have to get to some sort of damage items. Well, with Boots of Travel, you can teleport away from things and switch to other lanes to find creeps, but you paid 2,000 gold to now effectively pigeonhole yourself into farming for, I want to say, at least the next 10 minutes. I think every move Aurora makes is going to be a net loss. It's just so hard. We've already established that they need to bring 3 to 4 heroes to kill Axe or Bristle. I think Bristle, they might need all 5. The damage is just so weak. So what do you do? A 23 Savage can just play super aggressively around the map, so can WS, and whenever the Axe is off the map, you also need to be paranoid about whether he's ganking you. You know, Prophet's in the mix every time. Now, this item could potentially help Toronto Tokyo with a blink. If they were to find, I don't know, this feels like such a checkmate already. Like, usually I would be focusing on, all right, Centaur has a blink, let's go make moves, let's find kills. It just feels like 2 out of the 5 enemy heroes are borderline.
Oh my god. Did he sell the blink? He did.
Yeah, he bought Midas. Okay.
Oh my god. I don't think I've ever seen Midas Centaur, Cinderin.
I like this.
As Kiyotaka's dead.
I like the Midas because they have cornered themselves, and this is the only way out. I think his blink would have probably been borderline useless. He needs to try to get to super late game already.
They have
with
to
the Midas.
stampede just to save the Naga. Oof.
I will say, I would have preferred to see Centaur blink and Storm tread Switchblade as a potential angle back into the game, but when the Storm has travels and you see you can't kill these heroes, I think your Centaur has to buy into the same idea. And you have to do the same thing. It makes no sense for Centaur to buy a blink to then not fight, right?
Yeah. No,
you might as well buy a farming item. But I can't say Midas is better than Blade Mail necessarily for that. I think you might farm more with Blade Mail. Maybe not. I guess this is a bit better.
As Mira is taken out by Makoto, they're just dropping like flies. Aurora, if they lose this game, they are out of the tournament, and Talon would move on to the lower, or the lower bracket finals to face off against whoever loses after this series. It's Jokum and Makoto, 23 Savage into the pit. This is going to be a 17-minute Roche. They probably will go get the Tormentor at exactly 20, and then they'll have 2 minutes to use the Aegis to try to get as many towers as possible.
And their shards are pretty good. Curse of the Old Growth is a great one. And Marcy with the upgraded rebound.
Cuckoo spotted. Swarm. Mira's here. Makoto has the Aegis.
Gonna miss the call. But, yeah.
You can miss spells if you're Talon at this stage.
Yeah, you
make
really
lots
can.
of mistakes.
Aurora unable to fight back there.
Aurora has to play picture perfect. Come back in this game.
Kiyotaka's just using the travels to split push the map. Cuckoo's on his tail, forcing the TP out. This might not seem like that big of a deal, but it's actually a massively impactful play for Prophet to do this. If you keep forcing Storm back to base, he never gets to his items. So yeah, you don't kill him, and you're like, oh, he just TP'd out. This cuts off Kiyotaka from hundreds of gold out on the map, because that top area was one he wanted to control and to gain. And now he doesn't have access to it. Mira did leap away from one problem into the next.
Yep, Unleash. Jokum takes out another. 13K lead for Talon. 23-5. They were aggressive from the jump. And Aurora just were not prepared.
Yep.
Maybe they need to take a shower. Well, dump some water on those heads.
If they lose this game, there'll be plenty of time to shower at least.
Yeah, well.
Can add in the bonus 30 minutes that this game might be shorter than their expectancy. A little extra time in
already
the
the siege is coming. 19 minutes in.
Round. Yeah.
And both Makoto and 23 Savage playing heroes that can definitely do this, but the big zip does clean up the wave, so backdoor protection is going to kick in eventually. Another wave is coming.
23 took some damage. They could heal him up with Sprout, but Cuckoo is playing on the bottom side for now. He will connect now, though.
Taka again. Now Cuckoo's come to play. So you got 3 heroes that can push towers.
There's that heal.
Big reel in. 23 Savage into nothing. Just trying to delay. Trying to burn this Aegis on Makoto. As you see Mira dealing with the wave. So it looks like Talon will back away. They get the tower. And it is 20 minutes now, so they can just position themselves to get the old Tormy.
Yep. They have good heroes for it. Bristol, Lina. Bristol can do it alone. It's eggs. Just needs to heal him up a little bit, perhaps.
Mira's going for a YOLO arrow kill of Tormentor, maybe.
Could be.
We don't get to see that very often. Just chilling for now. 23 Savage making his way over, so this is pretty orchestrated from the Talon side. And Mira will just TP out, so actually moonlighting.
Yeah, they're gonna try WS, they will.
WS with the blade mail. Makoto's nearby. Oh my god, Kiyotaka almost kills himself onto just the blade mail alone. And even with all those numbers, they can't do much. WS gets a free shard. All right. So Berserker's Call will apply Battle Hunger, and you can apply multiple Battle Hungers on the same target.
Yep.
Not too shabby at all.
Just a nice damage increase for the hero. Feels good, you get the move speed.
Yeah, which talents did he go for here? It's only level 13 because we're
taking any yet.
I mean, when you get something like this, do you go for all the Battle Hunger talents, like the 10 and 15, would you say?
I think you could take the 10 and 15 Battle Hunger talents here, yeah.
Always feel good, and so does that. Pantho chopped. 30 seconds on the deck, and 23 Savage ready to go for more.
They don't have a wave, so they cannot push yet. But they will cut the coming waves already.
Well, Aurora, they're going to get their first tower of the game here pretty soon to that siege. Cardi the Catapult, the MVP so far for Aurora, the only one to show up in this game, number 2.
Hey, I gotta say, today the creeps have been playing consistently.
Yeah,
for
not too
Aurora.
shabby.
Mira, get away for now with that leap.
Jokum BKB, by the way.
Yeah. Lest we forget, there's a 4th core in this game already in the Marcy.
Yeah, she can definitely scale.
An additional problem for Aurora to try to deal with. But they're doing the right thing by playing the map. Kuku is once again going to force out Kiyotaka from the side and take it for himself.
The Aegis has expired, and I mean, Talon didn't really gain anything in terms of net worth, at least.
Yeah, it is a bit of a stalemate for now. Good stalemate for Talon, though, to be ahead 13k. I don't think they mind too much.
Yeah. Makoto's still hunting. He's going to run into Mira. A bit of a difficult kill for him. Jokum wants to chase, though. I mean, this is from Aurora's side. Obviously, split pushing is going to help extend this game. But also,